The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are not necessarily representative of the coalition or any other entity. This content is intended for mature audiences only.
What is going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown Your Questions 137, the E3 special. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and I'm joined by Emilio Lopez.
Sup, people? We are back.
Chris Seeley.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
The returning one, Carlos Romero.
Good to be back, guys.
Brett Murdoch.
And our front.
Adam Vale.
What's up, what's up?
And we got a very special guest because he is one of the originators of Throwdown. My man, the only one, Riku's son one, Michael Crawford. What is going on, brother?
What's good, yo? Motherfucking video on deck, just playing that shit and listening to my boys on the Throwdown.
All right, there you go.
You should have that sample of that. This is an original. Remember?
Yo, Riku, what you playing on Vita, man?
I'm playing that Legend of Heroes, Trails of Cold Steel. Yo, let me just say one thing about this game.
Keep it real.
This shit's better than Persona.
What?
That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna leave it right there and let that sink in.
Riku,
one or two?
Which is it? It's two, right?
Which one? The one I'm playing?
What you're playing now?
I'm playing one.
Oh,
I'm playing one. And I heard two is even better than one, so I can't wait to get to that one. I'm already 150 hours in.
Damn.
But Rico, I got a very specific question for you. I'm gonna say that for a little bit later. You know, all right. So this is the E3 special. So every question here is about E3, man. But before we start, a couple of things here. And Brian just reminded me about this because he's been forgetting. I want to give a shout out to John Morton, who is a UK fan of ours that listens to us live. So it's like 3 a.m. over there. So
nice.
Shout out to you, Mr. John Morton. Yeah. If you're in the chat right now, give us a holler. And of course, quickly, there's too many people to name. But I do want to give a special shout out to all the fans that I met at E3. Very cool. I mean, granted, if you've seen our E3 coverage videos, me and Manny didn't like, the crowds there was too much bullshit. But it was nice that because the crowds were there, we got to meet some fans. It was crazy, so that was pretty good. I think I bumped into 3 guys, the first guy, he was kind of like that dude we bumped into at the Tribeca thing, really humble and almost scared a little. I'm like, yo, come on, son. It's just me, but that was good. A lot of fun. All right, but I don't want to waste any more time here. So let's get into it, man. E3 questions. And as always, Mr. Final Stage Boss kicks us off here. He goes, Microsoft yet again changed the meaning of the word exclusive. Phil Spencer said that they will show 22 Xbox exclusives, but half of them were called, quote unquote, console launch exclusives. They went from exclusive to time exclusive to Xbox and Windows 10 exclusive, and now console launch exclusive. What the hell is a console launch exclusive? A timed exclusive by any other name, but still smell as sweet. That's all it is, bro. They just renamed timed exclusive, bro.
Yeah.
So
there was a lot of throwing around of exclusive. The word exclusive.
Yeah.
It got
ridiculous. It was like a parody,
To be honest, it's getting confusing. I'm like, because they want to stay away from certain sorts of language. They're like, all right, we're gonna just rename it and not give anybody a fucking dictionary as to what they mean in this situation.
Yeah, what do you mean this week, Microsoft?
Yeah, those fucking shirts should have came with some cliff notes.
Yeah, and then of course they, that I'm just gonna be honest, they trick people with that because I had people hitting me up, yo, is that new Metro Win exclusive? Like, no, it's not.
No.
But what they did was they sandwiched in the multi-plats in between the exclusives, and people think they were all exclusive.
Exactly. It's they're playing that fun little bit of marketing game.
Yeah, they used the logo console launch exclusive, but the Audible part was only exclusive.
Yeah, yes. That's right. Yeah.
It's like how what's the spin we can put this to bait people into this shit?
Isn't this just the natural backlash of people figuring out that a Microsoft exclusive is also available on Windows? So they're like, okay, well, we're going to move the goalposts.
Yeah, they also dropped the Windows
Windows
Xbox
10.
and Windows 10, even though it did say it on the screen.
Yes.
So
Yeah, but that way they can still shoehorn the word exclusive in there, even though it's not technically an exclusive, and you can still play it on PC. Well, it's exclusive on consoles. That's like being like I'm the heaviest drinker in the Tri-County area. You know, if you take out all the bars and all the alcoholics and most of the home drinkers and everybody's uncle and most of the people on my block, then I am the best exclusive drinker. Like it's just you're just framing it in a way that you can say that you're the best. Like I make the best cupcakes that are exactly 12 centimeters wide and covered with 2.5 ounces of cream cheese frosting. You're like, okay, well that's putting a hat on a hat a little bit. So
yeah, you're basically like you have to cut out like a tiny little hole that only you could fit into, you know, very precise hole you could fit into, you know. It's really stupid. Like, but again, I think they did it just because, you know, because they like that word exclusive. Their fans like the word exclusive, you know, and it tricks people into thinking every game shown there, even Assassin's Creed, was exclusive when it isn't. You know, it's getting really fucking stupid.
I mean, when you think about the word exclusive, it is to exclude something. So that's basically what they're trying to focus on, is excluding the fact that at this juncture, when it releases, or as they say, launch on Xbox, that it is not on PlayStation.
Yeah, I guess. Why not just say that? Not on
I mean, they
PlayStation.
might as well have said that, because that's basically what
they should. You guys remember the days of Sega do what Nintendo don't?
Yep.
Yeah.
Like what? Why not directly call out your competitor? Why not?
Well,
say,
I think they know that. Going down that road, Sony got no chill, you know. So I don't think they want to go down that, especially since they're, you know, technically in second place. I don't think they want to go down the road of let's throw a shot, because we saw what happened. You know, even when they didn't throw a shot, Sony threw a shot and it kind of hurt the entire Xbox One at the beginning, even though, you know, they kind of shot themselves in the foot. But that's not the point. Is Sony took a shot when they were down. So I don't think that they, you know, with them being in second place right now, I don't think they want to start any sort of shit-talking war directly. But so this is how they're going to have to do it.
Yeah, it's just silly though. So yeah, now we have yet another term for exclusive. Courtesy of Microsoft. So thank you for that. All right, let's move on here.
Can Microsoft just stop? Can we just? I just need to point this out. Why does all this bullshit start with Microsoft? Why does everything confusing and unnecessary fucking start with
because
Microsoft?
They start their
marketing?
presentations and they set the tone.
And not only that, but even if you're going to use that pathetic phrasing, why not explicitly say how like what the gap is, you know, like it's a timed exclusive or it's a console launch exclusive for X amount of time. They didn't even reveal that. So like it could be an exclusive, a console launch exclusive, and it launches like a minute before the competitor does.
That's right. Yeah.
But that's all intentional. That's all intentional marketing stuff. The only thing that they know fans will focus on is the word exclusive.
Yeah.
All the confusing stuff, they throw it away, because what does console launch mean? If you these guys are not going to spend more than 4 seconds thinking about it, and then they just go, the game's exclusive, right? They don't care for what duration or, you know, who or what. They just care about exclusive, and that's done on purpose.
Yeah, exactly. Because they're not going to hear the time part. They're going to hear exclusive, and then they're going to boast about it.
It would have been better if they had a segment that just said, all right, hey, everyone, these are our exclusives.
You remember they used to do that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Just bring it back.
Remember, like they used to be like, even Sony used to do it. But like every game at this point forward is exclusive to the Sony PlayStation console.
Yeah.
Well, here's my question. Like, and maybe this is me going the opposite direction than they do. Why do they even need to release these games on fucking PC? And calm down, all PC people. I know you're all gonna get out of your chairs and yell at me for this, but really fucking think about it. Microsoft generally doesn't get any money or kickback for a game that you buy on Windows, right? Most of the time, you don't even buy Windows. Microsoft doesn't make a lot of its money through PC. It makes more of its money through manufacturing and through its video games. It makes money through other programs, I understand. But like tell me when I buy, you know, Assassin's Creed for Windows, how Microsoft is making money from that.
I guess they feel that maybe you don't have Windows 10 and it's required. So now that you have to pay for Windows 10, they're like, oh well.
What are you running, Linux?
Hey, there's people running Linux, Red Hat.
Yeah, there's a few of them. I'll admit that. Yeah, and like, but most of the time, and let's be honest, you can run a non-genuine copy of Windows 10 like all fucking day. Like you don't have to pay for it. You just can't change your background. It won't stop you from doing anything. So it's I guess what I'm saying is financially, and not, again, calm down, PC guys, I'm only talking hypotheticals here, but financially, why don't they just go ahead and say, this is exclusive for the console, we're not going to put it on Windows, or we're not going to put it on Windows until later, and then just go the time exclusive. Like, I don't understand why they're splitting these hairs. It's not like serving the PC market is doing them a whole lot of good right now.
Well, the thing is, it's really, at least for their own games, it's maximizing the profit that comes off of those games.
Yeah. Being that
there's not as many Xboxes out there. How else do you make the maximum amount of money that you can off of these kinds of exclusive games? You put them on PC.
Yeah, that's all. I mean, to me, again, we don't really know, but to me, that's the main reason they're doing that, because Xbox isn't really, I know it sold around 30 million and stuff. By the way, that thing that they sold 36 million was debunked, by the way, around 30 million. So they need another place to sell their games, so they throw them on Windows 10. So I could understand that.
And it's, to be honest,
pretty smart business move,
to be honest, in general, it is the software, it is the games that make them the brunt of the profit for these companies. It's not the
Xbox Live. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
it's not the actual consoles. Again, we always keep saying this. The consoles are the things that are always, for the most part, operate at a loss until maybe a few years into the generation when all the hardware has become like cheaper. At that point in time, that's when it starts to make some money. But they've already made all their money because they got all their software titles out there.
Yeah, exactly. All right, come on, let's move on here. Next question, Mr. Him Deal. He goes, what are your thoughts about Sony holding back announcements from E3? What do you all think got held back? Will we see these announcements at Tokyo Game Show, Gamescom, Paris Game Show, or PlayStation Experience? So yeah, again, I don't know if this is official or not, but apparently Sony held back a couple of their announcements, from E3 to put them on other shows.
Yeah, I don't. But I think those are further out stuff.
To be honest, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Why would they throw their whole hand on the table at one show? They have a bunch of different shows that they need to do, and then their own show, right? Why would you okay?
Well, yeah, this E3 press conference was pretty much a rehash of last year's PSX. So it's like they're holding back, like they've been rehashing a lot of stuff. So like holding back, I don't know. Have they confirmed that? I don't know.
Well, I mean, to be honest, Detroit was not at PSX. Let's just say that.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, but it was.
In fact, Detroit wasn't even at last E3. Was it?
It was.
It was. Yeah. That's how we saw the rooftop.
That's how we saw it. Yeah.
We saw the rooftop thing.
But at least didn't even announce a release date for it. So who knows when that's coming?
No, there's that, and then there's also, they didn't announce this, but it was on the show floor. It was NAC 2.
Yeah. So what do you think got held back?
Nothing.
They didn't show Last of Us 2 this time.
Yeah, but they don't have anything.
They didn't have anything.
Wait, hold on. Are we going down this road that Sony has a secret sauce surprise they're keeping under?
No, it has nothing to do with
it's not about secret sauce. It's just about what games that we know.
No, I know. Yeah. We don't. It's really easy to say, hey, we've got a couple killer things that we haven't just showed you that keep the hype up. Like, really, like, if it were anybody else, I feel like we'd be saying, yeah, I don't really know if you have anything up your sleeve. You're just fucking saying that you do. And like,
well, this is also not Sony saying this. This is also rumors of people saying.
No, I know. This is fanboy circulated rumors because of a lackluster performance at E3 that they're holding something back and there's something bigger just around the wing. This is the same shit we make fun of Xbox fans for doing all the time. I personally find this ridiculous. I don't think that there's any huge announcement that they held back. It would have been smart to announce something at E3, especially considering how lackluster their fucking presentation was. There wasn't anything good. If there was something good, they would have been smart to put it fucking out there.
But Brett, you got to compare it. If you're going to compare Sony to the other ones about, the statement that you're making, you got to take into consideration that the other ones aren't hosting. They don't have their own exclusive type of press conference that they do outside of E3.
Well,
Which is-
Nintendo does. They have directs like
Yeah,
every so
directs, but
often.
nothing on the scale of like a PlayStation experience. You know, something that lasts as long as a PlayStation experience.
Well, but we're only talking about reveals here. Like PlayStation Experience you can do a PlayStation Experience by the stuff they did on E3, and that's the and a
Yeah,
lot
but
of that stuff was part
they
of.
still show different reveals at a PlayStation experience, which is far longer than a Nintendo Direct.
Yeah, but the audience at E3 is bigger, right? And they're people that aren't necessarily there. People who go to the
I
PlayStation
understand
conference are already looking for PlayStation stuff. Like the best time to reveal stuff is going
I
to
do
be
agree
E3.
with you. No, I do
It's-
agree with you with that. I definitely agree with you with that.
Wait,
If
hold
you're
on.
gonna
I
show
gotta jump in. Brett, how is the audience at E3 bigger than PlayStation Experience? You realize it's all the internet, right?
I do, but I also realize that E3 is more of a cultural phenomenon, and yeah, the PlayStation conference is essentially confirmation bias. Is everybody who's interested in Xbox and Nintendo going to be tuning into the PlayStation conference? No, they're not. But you know what? They're at E3. The idea of grabbing more market share, of putting out the big reveals, of putting on the best spectacle, that's E3.
He does have
Because
a point.
E3 is essentially
Yeah,
a
I see what you're saying. I
competition.
see what you're saying. Yeah. More people are they're more likely to watch E3 than they would be a PlayStation Experience. I got you with that. But anyway, as to the actual question, Brett, you're kind of right. We shouldn't really speculate too much. But yeah, I could totally see that because, like Rigo said, they have their own show now, so they can't throw all their eggs in the E3 basket. They got to divvy
Why?
it up.
Nintendo did.
You know? But Nintendo doesn't have any other shows that do have the Nintendo Experience at the end of the year. No, they don't. You know.
No, they have directs and treehouses.
We're gonna get
the thing is,
Nintendo.
Brett,
We're gonna
we're
get
either
Nintendo,
gonna.
but Nintendo didn't show anything anyway. A fucking
Yeah.
JPEG of Metroid 4. Get the fuck out of here.
I'm gonna talk about that in a few, but no, the thing is, we're either gonna complain about Sony not having anything to show right now, or we're gonna complain about Sony not having anything to show at the PlayStation
Experience.
Yeah, but I
It's
mean,
one or
that's
the other.
That's Sony's fault for cutting themselves too thin. I mean, they're the ones with the hubris to have two shows. Like, why have two shows if we're just gonna?
Well, no, it's not. It's not that it's two shows. The PlayStation Experience is not even a press event. That's
Well,
it's like
both.
super. It's a.
And neither is E3.
The thing is, it's pretty much just like what E3 was today. It's just a fan event.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's both. It's a press and a fan event. I mean, they're
Whatever it is still a conference that Sony shows off, their content at, and they're sharing it with E3, regardless of what it is, And like I said, it's you're either going to complain about them not having content here or them not having content there.
Yeah, I feel
you know, as far as new, exclusive, never before seen content, because they obviously showed stuff at E3 this year. It just wasn't it just wasn't anything that, as Torrance would say, a megaton or.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna
that's-
get to that later because I think
Everything
that's-
was just so far back, It's like, okay, we know.
I think that's the
this
reason
is
people
coming.
were upset with this E3 because there weren't any big megatons. I'm like, I saw a bunch of games. I don't know what the fuck you guys were watching, but we'll get to that later. All right, next question here from Mr. G Megaforce 123. He goes, was it necessary for Sony to remake Shadow of the Colossus? All of the games Sony could have rebooted, they decided on Shadow of the Colossus. It didn't seem like anyone was calling for it. Don't get me wrong, I'm excited for it, but it seemed like a lost opportunity to bring back other classic franchises that hadn't already received some treatment already. What do you guys think? Was this a lost opportunity, or are you satisfied either way?
I'm satisfied.
Let me get in on this.
Yeah, go ahead, Rico.
okay.
I think the reason they chose the Shadow of the Colossus has to directly, be with how much, I wouldn't say how much of a failure, but that's basically what the fuck it was. The Last Guardian, as far as from a sales standpoint. I definitely think they're trying to use Shadow of the Colossus, the one out of the three things that specific company has made that has been the most successful commercially and, sales wise.
Wait, didn't Last Guardian sell more than Shadow of the Colossus? I
Did
could
it?
be wrong, but
I don't think so.
yeah. Somebody look it up, please. But I don't remember it. I don't remember it being a sales bomb or anything. Because again, I know some dudes were expecting it to be like a 10 million seller. No, it wasn't. It was never going to sell more than like really 2 million if you think about it.
Yeah,
that's a niche game.
In general, those games created by Team Ico or whatever you want to call them now, their games don't exactly sell the greatest. I would say the only reason why the Last Guardian was chosen is because that game, out of a lot of them,
Shadow of the Colossus, you mean?
Shadow of the Colossus is one of the games that is that is probably the most acceptable to the masses.
So I checked
So what
the
I mean,
numbers.
what I mean by that is that the Shadow of the Colossus officially has the most action in it. It has the most, it has an open world. A lot of the things that are staples in games right now. So I'm thinking that's why they chose that's why they chose that game as opposed to Ico, or even and they couldn't choose The Last Guardian because The Last Guardian just came out.
Well, I mean, no, his question was, not even just, talking about just Team Ico games. He was talking about any other classic first-party PS1 game that Sony could have.
I feel like that game, the reason why they chose that game is because the Team Ico games are kind of still in the zeitgeist. They just released the Last Guardian, so that's why they're kind of using that to kind of jump off of that. And
that's what I think. So yeah. But I mean,
I actually have a different theory about it. I think it's because, think about it, the only way you could play Shadow of Colossus now, if you have own a PS4, is through PS Now. They probably want a nice shiny version anybody could pick up, and to make some money too off the side.
Well, I mean, they could have just done a port of the remaster for the Team Ico collection.
They could have done that, but who's to say that the guys at Blue Point said, no, man, we did that already. Why don't we just up it? Why don't we make it look nice? Like a modern game.
What's your theory?
My theory is that somebody up the chain has their head so far up their ass that they're getting voicemails from 3 years ago when there was a clamoring for Shadow of Colossus. There were people begging and screaming and clawing at the door for Shadow of Colossus. It just wasn't that was several years ago at this point. And
by the way, you're talking about the remaster for PS3 because we got that.
What's that?
Remember the Shadow of Colossus was remastered on PS3.
Yeah, I know. And what I'm saying is,
same studio.
There's an executive looking at this and not crunching the numbers, but being like, okay, well, what are people demanding? Well, they've been talking about Shadow of Colossus. That's one of our successful things. That's one of the more known things. Let's just go ahead and port that again. Like, I don't think it was necessary at all, and I don't think anybody was calling for it. I just think this is the entrails of the Shadow of Colossus hype train that somebody who's kind of out of the loop looked in on and went, we could probably make some money here, and handed it down to the creative team, because unfortunately a lot of times it's not the creative team making these decisions, it's the people upstairs. The people upstairs aren't always exactly sure, for whatever reason, what the fans want, and sometimes they're several years out of date. So I think this is, it's kind of like when Duke Nukem finally came out. Like, people had been begging for that game for years, but for like 2 years before it came out, people were like, just stop. We don't even want anymore. It's been like 11 years.
So, Brad, I have a question for you. As far as this Shadow of the Colossus, someone like me, I didn't play Shadow of the Colossus on PS2. I remember my friend tried to get me to. He's like, it's like Dynasty Warriors, but with less fucking enemies and the big fucking enemies. I was like, no, thank you.
Did he say Dynasty Warriors?
I know. He was like my friend. My friend always tried to get me into.
Riku, that's why.
My friend always tried to get me into a game by saying it's like Dynasty Warriors, but and I'm like,
if anything, you could say it's like Monster Hunter.
Yeah, I didn't like that during the time.
It's kind of the antithesis of Dynasty Warriors, actually.
Yeah, I know, but he's trying to suck at Riku because he's like, Riku only likes Dynasty Warriors game. It's like
during the PS2.
Play Mortal Kombat. It's like Dynasty Warriors, except you only fight one guy.
Yeah, he always used to do that. Yeah, during the PS2 era, that's all I used to play. So there's a lot of stuff I kind of ignored, and Shadow of the Colossus was one of them. But during the PS3 era, that's when I started to expand my genre, and I played it. But now that I see that it's coming to PS4, me personally, I don't care about this one. I mean, I know they said remake. When I saw it, it didn't really look like a remake to me. It looked more like an HD port. And the thing is, when I first saw it, I actually thought this was Shadow of the Colossus 2, but that's not it. If it was, I would be buying it. But the thing is,
it is a remaster, because if you look at the original game,
I'm saying that's not the word they used. The word they used was remake.
They didn't even say HD or nothing.
They just said
it's a remaster if you think about it.
Exactly, that's what it is. But my question to Brett is, do you think they were smart to release this on PS3 and then release it again on PS4, even though they're not going to? I know there's a handful of people that are like me that picked it up on PS3, and they're not going to pick up this PS4 version because of that.
I think there were a lot of people that picked it up on PS3 who were in your situation, and like a lot of games, I think that I think that they're looking at the numbers of the last game and being like, well, this is still a success. They're they think that there's still more of a hype train than there is going for it, I think they're going to be massively disappointed in the sales because nobody really wants this.
Yeah, I think it's kind of it's in the same. I would put it in the same category as what Square Enix is doing with Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, where Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 came out on PS2, and then Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2 HD remakes came out on fucking PS3, and now they're here again on PS4 in 1080p 60 frames per second. It's been mastered twice before we even get fucking Kingdom Hearts 3. And now they kind of did the same thing with Shadow of the Colossus, where it basically got remastered twice. And the people that played it once are not going to play it, more than, the second time, which is, I already played it once. I'm not going to play it a second time. If you played it during PS2 and you didn't play it during PS3, you might play it during PS4. But I highly doubt there's someone. Please find me someone that played it on PS2, played it on PS3, and will play it on PS4. That has to be like one of their top 3 or 5 favorite games for them to do that. But that audience is really small, is it not?
Yeah, I mean, I'm one of those guys. I'll probably pick the game up because I love the game, but it's very, very small because it shrinks with every generation, I would think, But I think
that's part of the reason why they packed it in with Eco,
Yeah,
I know there's the same thing with exactly. There's a lot of people that do the same thing with Kingdom Hearts. They played during PS2, they picked it up for PS3. When the PS4 version came out, they didn't pick it up again. The
one thing about that, the Kingdom Hearts, I bought it for PS3, and I played a little bit of it from the beginning. I was like, you know what? I kind of put like 1,000 hours into the original version of this game. I kind of don't want to play this again.
Yeah, you have to be like a heavy Kingdom Hearts fan for you to want to.
I love the original Kingdom Hearts games, but I just at the same time, it's like I just think back to me as a teenager. Like when did it come out? 2000, my early 20s. I want to say.
Yeah.
Late 20s, late teens, early 20s, playing those games for all those hours, right? And then just thinking of doing that again, and the amount of time that I have as far as life goes,
Yeah, exactly. All right, man. Let's move on, man.
But I'm gonna say one more thing about the Shadow of the Colossus thing. I do like that it is like a really. That wouldn't be. I don't know. What did you call it? A remaster? It's not even really a remaster. It
looks like they're redoing everything, though.
They're redoing the whole thing. So
a remake, I guess.
Doesn't look
like
a
remake. It's essentially
if it's a remake, then it'll be worth it. But if it's just a remaster, then
because
that's what they're calling it.
Yeah. The original game did not look like that. I mean, the main character was cel shaded. There was a whole bunch of different other things in there. So they actually did go through the trouble of essentially remaking the whole game.
Okay, so yeah, that's kind of worth it. But
so,
anyway,
they should have added bonus content then.
Yeah,
we don't know if there's bonus content, and we also don't know if the bonus content from the original game will be over. Here's the one thing I do know: Blue Point Games is doing this. Blue Point Games usually does pretty spot on games. Like any of the ones that they've put out, they've always been true to the original content, as well as updating some things for the new one. So I have no doubt that the game will at least play a little bit, play as good as or better than the original one, and the visuals will be on point because it seems like they have a lot of love for these sorts of games.
Let me say.
Yeah, last thing, and then we got to move on, man. Oh, by the way, quick shout out to Red Infamy who's in the chat right now. She says that she thinks a lot of people will pick this game up because a lot of people didn't play Shadow of Colossus. So who knows? Well, I guess we'll see. Because remember, a lot of the people that picked up PS4 were actually Xbox 360 guys.
I didn't play either one, and I'm not playing this one.
Why? That's like one of the greatest games of all time. How did you? All right, man.
It's just not my type of game.
Interesting. Open world game. You fight monsters.
It's an environment.
Me,
it looks similar to the most recent Zelda. It has a lot of similarities.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a sandbox.
Yeah, it's a sandbox. Yeah. Anyway, Riku, last point, and then we'll move on.
Oh, as far pertaining to this question, the second part of this question where he said, do you think that there may have been another game in the first party Sony library that you think should have been chosen over this? I say it should have been fucking Legend of the Dragoon, especially since turn-based. Games like Persona has definitely made rekindled people's hype for turn-based RPG games, and I think if they made a Legend of the Dragoon remake and showed it off at E3, they would have gotten not only people that are hyped off of Persona 5 and turn-based and want to play something other turn-based, but people who've played it in the past. It's been 3 generations since they played that, so they would pick it up.
What about a
I
remake
think.
of Trails in the Sky, man?
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that.
I'm-
But I definitely think those sales would have been better than what they're doing right now.
Yeah, let's move on, man. We got a bunch of questions tonight. Okay, what's your intake? What's your take on BioWare's new IP Anthem? Is it the Mass Effect killer, or would you have preferred Andromeda 2 instead of Anthem?
That's what Mass Effect should have been. Shit.
Anthem is
graphically, it's what Mass Effect should have been, but
Yeah.
Officially, I'm just going to call that game Reverse Destiny.
That's exactly what it is.
Because you start off that game in first-person mode, and then you end up in third-person mode. Unlike
Yeah.
Destiny.
Does it? I didn't see any first person.
There's a first-person mode in the beginning.
Yeah, in the beginning it was.
When you start,
Whenever
it
the
starts off-
girl gets inside the thing, it's all in first person.
I forgot about that. But
When
I
he
do.
gets in the suit.
I do think is. I think. Do you guys feel that BioWare may have pulled a fucking Platinum Games when it came to
Yeah,
this
they put
game?
all their focus in
did.
that game. They put the 18
Yeah.
on.
Oh yeah.
Well, no, here's the thing, Rico. I don't know. I don't think it's exactly a Platinum Games, but they definitely had. Remember, this game is made by Edmonton, right? That's the A team. Andromeda was the B team, and it shows. You know.
And Platinum Games' B team wasn't messing around with fucking Scalebound getting canceled and all that shit. Do you think if they had their A team on Scalebound?
Does Platinum even have a like? I don't know how they're distributed over there. Like, I thought it was just one massive team. Basically, I don't know if they have like different. Like, we know for a fact BioWare has teams. You know.
Either way, whether they have teams or not, the thing is that you definitely know if they had the people that was working on this on Andromeda would have definitely been a lot.
Yeah,
better.
because this shit. I mean, here's the. I don't get me wrong. I'm not really excited for it because it looks like another multiplayer game, but it looks fucking nice. Like graphically, that shit looks crazy.
They dove into the freaking water, man. That shit was fucking crazy, man.
Yeah, man. Like they're doing some shit like that's nuts in there. You know.
Yeah, I'm definitely.
We'll just wait. We'll just wait to see how that looks on actual console hardware.
I know, right?
Oh yeah, it could be another Watch Dogs situation. You know.
Mhm.
Uh-oh.
So when you say you feel like it's, do you say feel like did you say Destiny 2?
No, Manny said it's a
I call it Reverse
Destiny.
Destiny.
What do you
It's
mean
a-
by that?
Oh, because again, you start the game because you know how Destiny's a first-person shooter, right? But when you're in the Citadel or whatever it's called, you're all third-person. And you can do your dances and shit. This game has the opposite. You're in the town and you're in first-person mode, and then when you jump inside your robot suit, that's when it becomes third-person.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, but yeah, it does seem very Destiny-ish to me. You know. So,
I did one thing I did
who
like
knows?
about it was the how lush the environments are. Destiny has that one fun thing. Well, not fun thing, kind of silly thing where everything is just these big empty battlegrounds of nothingness.
Yeah.
So I did like that they were in forests and you can go into water and stuff like that. You don't get any of that in Destiny.
Yeah, it definitely
Yeah,
has
and-
environmental shit. But yeah, again, I don't really have too much input on this. I just like, just like, okay, this is going to be another, because they didn't already say that this is going to be their equivalent of like Destiny. So that already turns me off, you know?
Yeah.
Well, they had that whole emphasis on the whole co-op and like people talking to each other. Like I guess
Yeah.
that's like their
Those scripted talks that they had during
Yeah.
that thing. Yeah, that was
I
really
hate,
cool.
I hate when they do that shit. I
Did
really.
they say when Anthem was coming out?
No, they didn't say.
Okay.
If I'm wrong, let us know in the comments. But I don't know.
If anything, all that trailer for Anthem did was piss every single person off about Mass Effect. Like fuck,
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
where
yeah.
it went.
Yeah,
well-
that's what I was thinking.
the first shot when they were walking in first person mode and you just see the face. I think it was like a woman that was like talking to you. You're like, yep, that's where all
That's
the
where it was.
resources went.
No,
Yeah.
the environments and everything. I'm like,
Yeah.
anything in Mass Effect look like that?
Yeah.
Planet?
By the way, they're saying fall 2018.
Really?
Fall 2018.
Whatever. I'm not interested.
I'm definitely interested. 'Cause
I don't
I love
think-
me some fucking third person view. So
I don't.
Right? Thank you.
I don't
Yeah,
think.
definitely.
But at the same time, I don't think that Anthem is the Mass Effect killer, because it doesn't even take the place of Mass Effect.
Yeah, it
It's a
doesn't.
totally
It's just another
different thing.
franchise.
I would say it's in the same category. It's they are trying to pull in the Destiny crowd, but the thing about the Destiny crowd is they are, a lot of them are Halo people that prefer first person over third. So that some of them may go ahead and try it out, but the majority of them I don't think are going to. But I do think people like me that, I didn't really give a fuck about Halo. They got people like me that want to play more third person based games like that. And they're definitely going to pull into people that liked Destiny and liked Mass Effect. Well, hear this. The co-op multiplayer aspect of Mass Effect, those are the people that they're going to pull in.
If it's like the Division, they pulled me in.
Why can't we have games where you can do both? Like,
we don't do that no more.
Why can't you have a first person and you can
Rainbow
have,
Six on
Battlefront
PS3?
does that. Battlefront does that. Like you can switch both.
Oh yeah, but it's not. But
there's always one. But one is always stronger than the other. Like,
one is always superior to the other.
When you take a game like Skyrim, right, and you put it into third person mode, that is like the worst way you can
you're
ever
right about
play
that. Fallout does not play well in third person, man.
I remember one of the Call of Duties tried to do that too, like Modern Warfare 2, I think, or 3. One of those two actually tried third person mode, and that was crap too.
Hold on. I played Fallout exclusively in third person mode.
Bro, how did you manage that? Dude?
Yo.
Shit.
Because I like to see my environment surrounding me and not just like I'm
sliding across the ground, not even touching it. Like,
dude,
really?
Fallout was way better than any of the old Bethesda games. Like the animations for the foot trafficking, like you could be moving at a 45-degree angle forward, but your character would be doing left strafing and you'd be kind of like gliding along the ground. Like, every subsequent Bethesda game does a little bit better at sticking the feet to the ground in third perspective mode, so it actually looks like you're moving along the terrain instead of just gliding with weird, awkward motions. But other than that, like I always prefer third person because I like seeing the environment around me. It gives me context. It makes so things don't sneak up on me. It gives me a wider field of vision.
Here's the thing, Brett,
I always go third person.
In that game, it looks so fucking bad. That's the problem, But
only
anyway, I don't want to sidetrack off of fucking Fallout. Anyway, let's move on to the next question here. Mr. Dio in the house. He goes, "Hey, fellow gamers, chat and Throwdown crew. Hope y'all enjoyed all last week." So his first question is, "There's going to be a little bit interesting one." Okay, what were your top 5 games from E3? What were the letdowns? Were there any megatons you experienced?
No.
No megatons.
No megatons.
No megatons.
I can't. Here's the thing: a lot of the games that were on the floor are games that were I already had made the decision to get already, and on some of the other ones are just like, all right, are you really excited about NAC 2? Did they really need to make that one?
Yeah.
I got mine with No Way Out.
Shout out to my man Hated Greatness who joined us. What's up, Hated?
What's up, man?
No Way Out for me was a game changer.
Well, just let us know when you're ready.
Yeah.
Dude. All right. So, there wasn't really anything that kind of just blew me out of the water. I mean, in general sense of E3 this year, it was very tailored toward general audiences.
Yeah.
Which means that there at least I'm just even talk last year. Last year, even in the Sony booth, there were way more fucking games in there than there were this year. In this one, you just see more stations of the same games. Okay. So it's like you had 6 stations for Detroit, whereas the year before you had like stuff like Gravity Rush. You had a bunch of indie games. There weren't even really any indie games inside of the Sony booth, and there were barely any indie games outside of the other ones. And like in booths on their own, a lot of the Devolver Digital hasn't even been in there, which they do a lot of independent games. They're not in there. A bunch of other companies are not in there. So it's really difficult. And there wasn't really those moments that I really enjoy from E3 before you find that kind of hidden treasured sort of game. It's like, oh wait, how come nobody's been talking about this game? Oh wow, this is cool. Not a lot of that.
You didn't like No Way Out?
No Way Out.
I don't even know what the hell is that.
I'm not with the co-op.
The Brothers guy made that.
Wait, slow down. Wait, Chris, you go first. What is it?
It was at the EA conference. The guy who made Brothers made it. It's breaking out of prison.
Yeah.
Okay, so like
officially, I officially didn't even get to see the EA conference. Tony was in the air at that point in time.
Yeah, I was flying in.
No,
you know?
that's EA's fault. And by the way, you didn't miss much.
Oh yeah, I heard that thing was ass.
Yeah.
You know,
And,
the Bethesda one was fucking terrible.
No,
You know,
dude,
that's
if you was EA, it would have EA's was the worst.
Oh my
Like,
god,
what?
I don't know. Bethesda's was pretty damn bad.
my man hated. What's up, man?
It was good.
Thanks for joining us. Actually, hate us and join us. What were your highlight games that you saw? Like, at least you don't have to name 5. Like 3 would be fine. Like, what were
Highlight
some of the,
games for me? I'm actually interested in Sony. I'm interested in Detroit from Sony. The concept in that story looks like it's going to be a really strong title, so I'm gonna probably check that out. I'm happy we finally have a release date for Cuphead. It's only been years. It's only been years. I'm hyped for that. Forza looked. I mean, I didn't think that Forza 7 looked absolutely beautiful to me. Like, it literally made me just kind of stare at the screen and not believe that that's what we're gonna get, because it was too good to be true. Spider-Man looked promising as well. Yeah, those 3, I guess. Yeah, probably top 3 for me.
All right, I'll go next and I'm gonna just stick with games I played. Shadow of War was fucking dope. Dragon Ball Z Fighters. Can't believe I'm saying I'm. I'm hyped
man, I
for Dragon Ball Z
forgot.
game.
I can't believe I forgot to mention that. That stole the show for me, by the way.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah.
By the way, a quick story for you guys, man. Because the guy I played against was a fucking pool hustler. This dude comes in here saying, "Oh, I suck at fighting games. Take it easy, me." He whipped my fucking ass. Like, come on, son, you lying right now. So yeah, those 3 Agents of Mayhem, fuck Crackdown, get that shit. And Bloodstained, of course. Fucking. Oh, and Chris, I got to play Battle Chasers.
Oh yeah. How was it?
And the only guy in there was Joe Madureira.
Nice.
And that was pretty cool. So yeah, those are my top games. I played a bunch of other little things, like Indivisible was cool. I got to play a Marvel's Capcom Infinite story. Hey, listen, at least it's the story in there, but I don't know about
that. They didn't even have voice sync, man. Those character models look janky.
Yeah,
the character models alone is all I needed to know that I'm not buying that game.
But yeah,
Shadow War, Chun-Li's face.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, so yeah, Shadow War, Dragon Ball Z, Agents of Mayhem. And a quick little shout out to Mega Man Legacy Collection. I had a lot of fun playing. I never played Mega Man 7 and 8, so it was kind of cool playing those. But yeah, those are my top games. As far as disappointment games, I don't really have any. Like, because whatever. I guess the Bethesda conference was a disappointment. Except for
probably
Wolfenstein.
What do you mean virtual reality Bethesda games?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fuck out of
And
here.
then
Fuck out of here.
You're saying their whole conference was this
Booty butt cheeks.
This is 2017. They're still talking about motherfucking Skyrim, man.
Yeah, it's like, come on, stop talking about that shit.
I think that was everybody's hang up. Like, almost every conference besides EA mentioned Skyrim in some fashion. And I was like, what?
It's like, hey, everybody, don't you want to play that 10-year-old game?
Do you know how mad I got when Nintendo announced, "Oh, you can play Skyrim with Link clothing"? I'm like, why? It's the same game. You can do that on PC with mods already. Can we get a new game already? Like Bethesda? I don't get it.
Yeah, all right, Rico,
Well,
man. Hold on, Rico. What are your top games there, man? At E3.
Well, I'm only gonna give 3.
Yeah, that's fine.
Well, I would say at number 3 would be Spider-Man. I mean, because getting
Thwip, motherfucker. You don't read the comics. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, I like the gameplay that I saw for Spider-Man. It reminds me a lot of a combination of Spider-Man 2 and the recent Arkham games.
By the way, I need to quickly say this about Spider-Man, because Tatiana, she saw like a behind closed doors version of the game. The guy, she didn't play it. The guy was playing for her. He went down a completely different path because people are saying, "Oh, it's an on rails game." Like, there's still certain things that happen within the demo, but you could go different routes and stuff during those like big cinematic scenes.
Oh, the QTEs.
Yeah. But just
wait, people thought that was on rails. Have they not played the old school Spider-Man games?
No, they're probably like 20 years old. They'd probably never even played.
Oh, okay, that's why they're idiots. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, as far as the QTE scenes, I did think that was on rails. So the fact that you do say that, there's different alternatives that can play out during those scenes, that does make me feel a bit more find about that game, because I was, as far as when I saw Spider-Man, that was the only thing that vaguely turned me off. I was like, oh god, we're in 2017 still doing QTEs, but that's good to know. But like I said, the main thing I liked about it was the fact that the web swinging looked fucking awesome. This is probably the best web swinging I've seen in a Spider-Man game. I like how he kind of like corner swings on buildings. I fucking love that. Wall running's back, and like I said, indoors and all the combat reminds me a lot of Arkham. And I think for something like Spider-Man, that definitely meshes well. I mean, it makes more sense for Spider-Man to know an incoming attack is coming and fucking dodge it and do something versus fucking Batman. There's no such thing as fucking bat sense, So the fact that Batman can do those things is just like, oh, he's Batman. But Spider-Man makes a lot more sense because, first of all, he's been doing it in Spider-Man 2. So it's good to see that that's a thing in this one. And the whole, like I said, Batman, how Batman had his
what other
swing
games
shots?
Riku? We're still talking about Spider-Man.
The other two would be Dragon Ball Fighters Z. That's number 2. And actually, number 1 would probably be Anthem.
Interesting. Yeah. All right, now I'm going to derail the show a little bit because I need to ask this question. Riku, are you hyped for Monster Hunter?
I am willing to give it a chance because I think I told people before I was never a Monster Hunter fan. I tried it on fucking PSP because my friend was like, "Oh, Riku, it's like dinosaurs but with monsters." I was like,
And he sounds like your friend sounds like that too. That's exactly how he sounds.
No, that's just me doing it for entertainment purposes. But the point is, he tried to get me to play a game because of that. So I gave it a try. And obviously, if you play Monster Hunter, the gameplay is sluggish. This is nothing like Dinosaur, so it completely turned me off. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. But, playing all of the Monster Hunter type games that have been releasing on the Vita, I'm willing to give Monster Hunter another chance when it releases on PS4. So, am I hyped? No. Am I willing to give it a chance? Yes.
All right. Chris, highlights.
I was completely shocked that Ubisoft ended their conference of Beyond Good and Evil 2, like some sort of announcement. I thought that was, one of those E3 myths. Every year, people are like, man, they're gonna show it. I'm like, nah, it's bullshit. And they finally showed it. So I was pleased.
But did they really? They
they showed a cutscene, but that's better than just everyone assuming every year. Every year you always hear people go, "Oh, this year."
But isn't that what they did like 5 years ago with the other Beyond Good and Evil trailer they put out?
I think that just got put out online. They never officially said that what it was. People are just like, "Oh, there's this video, and this is Beyond Good and Evil 2," and then everybody just ran with that ever since. So
but
for them to
aren't they like fucking that game up now? Like they're making it like you're not a real character. You have to create your own character or something. Like that's what I heard. Like you're not the girl anymore.
The fuck up, man. If they fuck it up, then I won't be happy.
Yeah,
I just can't wait for that game to come out so it can flop like the first one did, and we can stop pretending that we like it.
No,
I can't wait.
Who likes it?
They should do it like the last time. Just they'll release the new Splinter Cell next to it, and Splinter Cell will completely overshadow it like the last time.
That's what I'm really upset about. Where the hell is my Splinter Cell title?
Yeah, man.
I'm a huge Splinter Cell fan, and it's just not being announced. I don't know what Ubisoft is doing.
When did Blacklist come out?
They're definitely not doing a Splinter Cell.
Blacklist came out, 2010? 2011?
Amazing.
No, it wasn't no damn 2010 or 11. Blacklist? Really?
Blacklist was like 2013 or something like that.
Are you sure? Dude, that game is old. It's like
I'm looking it up right now, but I remember it was not 2011.
It wasn't 2011.
I'm pretty sure it was close to whenever Skyrim came out.
Oh, shit. It's definitely within the last 5 years, but that is still a long time,
It came out 2013. August.
Okay, so there you go. Yeah.
Oh, was 2013? Okay.
Yeah.
Still, I want another one. So.
Other stuff I was surprised at the Metroid for 3DS. I was shocked at because I had no idea they were working on that. So I would enjoy that. It's a remake of Metroid 2 that was on the Game Boy. Spider-Man, I was definitely excited about that. So finally we got to see how it played, and I definitely want to play that game. Other than that, EA had nothing. I mean, they talked about Anthem in Microsoft's conference. They should have saved that for their conference because their conference was ass. So they saw Anthem, and I'm curious about Anthem, but I don't know. It has Destiny vibes, so I'm like, eh. And I don't know. That was about it.
All right, Carlos.
So I'm gonna rehash the whole DBZ, the DB Fighter Z. I hate that name. Why? Just call it DBZ
Fighters.
Yeah, like
Dragon Ball Fighters.
that game, like shocked the shit out of me when it came out in the Microsoft press conference. I'm like, what the hell is this doing here?
I like the setup. I like the setup they said for this. They made it like it was some sort of new fucking game that nobody knew about. Like something that was from some franchise that nobody ever heard of.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we played this really great, amazing, crazy game. Check it out. Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah, remember it's the Microsoft conference. They're speaking for their fan base's perspective. A lot of cats on the Xbox. I mean, they're not as enthusiastic about Japanese games as like PlayStation 2.
No, but they knew they could get away with it because regardless where you play your games, you probably have some sort of nostalgic connection to Dragon Ball. So they knew what they were doing when they were bringing that, and it was a great move on their part.
I mean, let's be honest. I don't think Phil Spencer knows that much about Dragon Ball. I don't think.
I'm not saying Phil Spencer. I'm not saying Phil Spencer.
For him, he was probably because he was like, "Yeah, we played this weird game." I'm like, "Weird," and then they saw Dragon Ball. I'm like, "What's so weird about that? That's a normal game."
I think
I'm a weeb.
Yeah.
I think that was just a joke. That was just to sell it.
Yeah, that was definitely just a joke. But yeah, he knows his audience as far as, like I said, the majority of people know what Dragon Ball is. So they're willing to give it a try.
Carlos, what else you got?
So another one that people have been talking about, Spider-Man. Man, that game just looked crazy. It looked fun as hell to play. So I can't wait to play that. Anthem. Yo, that game is so like when Manny was talking about how all the detail in the game. So if you're going to compare it to Destiny, at least Anthem looks like an environment that you want to play in, not that freaking garbage rehash shit that freaking Destiny busted out for us, man.
Yes, I agree 100% with what you just said.
Am I the only one who's excited for Anthem?
Yeah. Oh, really? Well, you'll get your turn, man. Carlos, you got anything else?
Yeah. Shout out to, and it won't get that much love, maybe by Brett, but Super Mario Odyssey, man, looked freaking good. I liked I didn't like the whole what's it called? Like in the city part with the humans, like fuck that shit. But the other part was like pretty cool, man. It looks pretty interesting.
All right.
And Mario can steal people's souls or possess people's bodies.
You can put a hat on a dinosaur. 10 out of 10, right? Yeah.
You got T-Rexio, man. Come on.
So as far as disappointments, so this is going to be controversial. And Detroit Become Human, man. That I'm not a fan of Quantic Dream games to start with, but this game, it just doesn't feel natural to me. Like when I watch it, like they're trying to convey a story, and like I can't take it serious. I don't know if it's just me, but like that type of game.
I think I was more intrigued by the first trailer than this one. Like the first trailer, gave me this vibe of we're trying to understand as far as what I got from it. We're trying to get the understanding of it's an android, right?
Yeah.
Well, what's weird?
Become human. It's kind of like this iRobot type of vibe I was getting from. But this one, I don't know what they were trying to.
It's reverse Blade Runner. You're playing.
Yes, exactly.
You're
not. It's not about trying to defend humanity or whatever. And technically, humanity is the antagonist of the game. It's the idea of what it means. Like, if you have a consciousness, are you technically a living being? These are androids that are subjugated by humanity.
By the way,
iRobot was kind of doing.
Yep.
In an extent, iRobot was more about the idea that robots aren't necessarily potential threats, though they can be manipulated by people. The 3 laws. Yeah. This might mention the 3 laws, but in the end, the 3 laws, I mean, while they'll probably be mentioned, the focus will be the fact that these are androids that have consciousness and free will being subjugated by another force.
Isaac Asimov,
Yeah, and the concept to me seems pretty interesting. I just don't like the way it was presented. I don't like the characters. The characters don't seem, I don't know, maybe it's the voice actors. Like, they just seem like, it sounds like they're reading from a script. Like, I don't know.
Of course.
They sound
Like,
like a bunch of
it's-
robots.
Yeah, but it's not supposed
They're-
to sound like they're reading from a script. They're supposed to sound natural. Like that's the whole point
They're
of this game.
androids. They're not natural.
No, I mean, androids are supposed to be human, become human, right? That's the whole title of the game. This is like the whole thing with Quantic Dream games. Like, it's supposed to be the most realistic type games presented because they hardly have any gameplay in it. They just have quick time events and like walk to point A to point B to solve a mystery. You know, but like to me, the characters don't seem as like interesting. Yeah.
All right, what else, man?
Sea of Thieves combat system or whatever you want to call that shit. Like the game's pretty like beautiful, man. The water effects are crazy, but
Those are nice water.
but when they're fighting and they're shooting at each other, it looks like ass. Like I'm sorry, like it's it seems like something I don't want to play. Like I just want to watch it.
Great for Twitch.
All right, Brett.
Well, I mean, everybody's already pretty much covered everything. I just disagree
Actually,
with
what's
a
your
lot of
question about Anthem?
them. Am I the only one who's severely disappointed in Anthem?
Why? Okay, why were you disappointed in it?
Because it's a fucking Bioware is degraded into cookie cutter games.
Explain.
It's another third-person fucking open-world sandbox shooter that you can play with friends. Like Bioware used to make games about consequence and narrative, and look, they made another fucking Destiny. Yeah, it looks pretty, but
Yeah, but they released Mass Effect this year, though.
Wait, what other than Division have we gotten in the past 5 years?
I'm like,
third-person multiplayer shooter.
No, Destiny and Division, you know.
No, I said third person.
Oh, third person.
Yeah, third person.
And I already
okay,
said
third
I already
person,
said other than Division.
I wasn't very impressed with it, and
Me neither, and that's why I'm interested in Anthem.
Ghost Recon.
Yeah,
I mean, Recon's another one. There you go.
Yep.
Third
So if
person.
it really comes down to it's pretty and it has a different camera mode than the other games that are pretty much just like it. Okay.
I think would interest me about Anthem over Ghost Recon or The Division. And The Division you know first had my attention, but just like fucking Ghost Recon. Well, not even Ghost Recon never had my interest. But the thing about both of those are fucking Ubisoft games. I don't, you know, we know how they go as far as showing it and releasing it. But the thing about Anthem,
Sadly true.
the thing about Anthem is that I just like the time period that it's taking place in. It's the futuristic time period that it's taking in versus what Division and Ghost Recon, is more grounded. You're walking around with your team. This one, you're in. You can fly off like fucking Iron Man and shit. I like that. I like that. That's what intrigues me over both the Division and Ghost Recon. That's what I was trying to say. As far as in that category, I haven't seen anything in the past fucking half a decade that is similar to that.
It's not that I think it's going to be a bad game. I'm just disappointed that this is the direction that BioWare as a company is taking, because I used to love them for their idea of RPG and consequence and character building. Like, I'm not even talking Mass Effect. I'm talking back in fucking KOTOR days.
What, like Dragon Age and whatnot?
Yes.
So you would prefer if Anthem was basically with the key elements of a Dragon Age, but with still its gameplay that it has?
Yeah, even like a Paragon system or something like that. Like,
they really haven't even showed us, what the story or how that's going to work. So I mean,
no, they haven't, and maybe they will, but it just looks.
Yeah, it's a small chance that it won't.
If
they're going to focus on multiplayer, there's a high chance that it won't.
Yeah,
but
I mean, personally, I'm kind of happy that they're moving away from that. I've always found, and I used to be a BioWare fan. Like, I liked KOTOR 1. KOTOR 2 was meh. I loved Jade Empire.
KOTOR
and Mass
2
Effect.
wasn't BioWare.
Who made KOTOR 2 then? Because I didn't like KOTOR 2, so that's probably why I didn't like it. And then, what was the other one? Oh, Mass Effect 1, I loved. And then, obviously, 2 was really good with DLC, and 3 was an abomination, so I don't even count them. But, like, for me, it's like BioWare's formula for gameplay, like, it carried over too much from title to title. And it was way too restrictive and binary and how you do things and what they are in terms of good and bad. Good and bad is not black and white like that. But the way the Paragon system works in Mass Effect, or good versus dark, or light versus dark, and even KOTOR, it's like It's too child friendly. Like it's no adult goes through life and it just does everything that's good to be pairing on. You're gonna do things that are technically quote unquote bad sometimes, but you're doing it with the intent and the purpose of being good.
Dude,
They
that's
don't
why I
convey
love
that.
KOTOR, is I played the whole game as a gray Jedi. It was the only fucking game that actually gave me the freedom to ride the line in between and rewarded me for doing so. And ever since then, it's become more
It
restrictive.
still categorizes you as one or the other. You may have been gray to you, but you were something.
No, I wasn't dark
the
or
thing
I
is,
wasn't
you're not in the middle at the end of the game, are you?
That's
You're
my
gonna have to
point.
choose.
You have to be one or the other.
No, I mean, you're a middle throughout the entire game, but at the end, you have to choose.
Oh, well, yeah. You have to make the choice, but the way that you played the game, and this was different from the first one to the second one in that, and it's been degrading in titles since then. The idea that if you get a bonus for, good or evil, that you have to swing all the way for good or evil for that to happen. Whereas when I got to play KOTOR, I got to basically cherry pick what I liked from the dark side and what I liked from the light side. I got to go halfway up multiple trees instead of going down all the way on just a couple, and that allowed me to augment my gameplay experience so that I didn't have to be fucking evil, but I could still shoot force lightning. Like I really like that. So it wasn't quite as binary, but it's degraded into more of a definitive binary system. But it doesn't have to be that either. It can just be consequence.
Yeah. All right, Brett. E3 highlights, man.
Wolfenstein 2. Fuck yeah, I really enjoyed the last one. I really don't see this one disappointing in any particular way. I'm excited for Days Gone. I don't know why more people aren't. It's like The Last of Us on steroids. And
Horizon.
What?
Like Horizon.
What's
really,
like?
I don't see any dinosaurs in that shit.
No, the world, the environment. From what I saw, just the animation, everything looks like Horizon.
Well, yeah, it's like post-apocalyptic.
Did they say that was going to be open world?
It's probably going to be open world.
It is.
Every game's open world now.
Yeah, I'm kind of getting burned down on the whole zombie thing.
That's why I don't care about Days Gone. I'm like, another zombie game. All right, man. Whatever.
So
I think go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Brett.
Everybody was shitting their pants because The Last of Us 2 wasn't announced, but this other game by Naughty Dog that shares a lot of the same themes, a lot of the same ideas.
Yeah, Brett, can I stop you real quick? Okay, I don't understand why people were mad that they didn't show The Last of Us 2. They specifically told you at PlayStation Experience, this game is barely done yet. We're just going to be a little slice. That game ain't coming up for a while. Don't expect to see shit. I don't know why people were expecting to see it when Tony told you, don't expect to see more. We just want to leave you a little bit of a taste. It's fucking
not to mention
dumb.
They're working still on the damn Uncharted expansion.
People
like they have a full plate. Like you'll get The Last of Us next year E3, and it'll probably be gameplay and everything. Like relax.
Yeah, exactly.
Sony showed enough. Like it's not like you guys are lacking. Like if regardless of what console you have right now, you got games coming out. There's no reason to be complaining about a title not being shown. You got a full plate.
Yeah, but again, what I don't understand is why are people beefing with Sony specifically said, we're not going to show you more. We're just going to give you this little bit.
Well,
they said it.
They even said that trailer that was shown was just specifically meant to announce the game, that there wasn't going to be anything. There wasn't going to be anything soon. They haven't even started it.
Yeah, so I don't know what people would be for. Anyway,
so
Brett,
wait. Brett, did you say that Days Gone was made by Naughty Dog?
Oh, it looks like it.
Oh, looks like it. Okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
like
it's made by Ben Studio, the people that made Uncharted Gold and Abyss. So.
Hey.
Oh well, that would actually explain a lot. But like, no, it mimics it very well. Like it looks like it is the flavor of The Last of Us, but just because they're not mold-based zombies and there's a lot of them.
This trailer that they showed off, do you think that it was needed? Because in my opinion, I don't think it really was. In my opinion, when I first saw it, like last year, with all of the zombies and it's showcasing how chaotic it can be, I was hyped. But when I saw it this year, I'm like, obviously they showed less, and I don't know. I think it kind of killed a bit of the hype for me. It
actually addressed several concerns that I had. One, that it would be very much kind of a Last of Us experience where you didn't really get to choose where you went. It was very curated. This made it seem like you had at least a little bit more choice in how you want to approach a situation. I believe it's still heavily narrative, but you could move around areas as opposed to walking down paths. It showed me
Wait, the first trailer didn't do that for you when it ended off with him on the rooftop? That seemed kind of like.
Well, they kind of ran in that thing. It just showed you. It was just a specific course that they ran through.
Yeah,
I mean, this one wasn't.
Different things.
Well,
this one, he had that had a couple of alternate routes, didn't he?
I'm talking about on the motorcycle and whatnot. That part.
Yeah.
It seemed kind of straightforward and linear to me. It didn't really seem like you had that many alternative options.
Maybe that's just the way I took it. I also appreciate the fact that it like I always like it when you use zombies as a weapon against other human players. Like the idea of like him grabbing the zombie's attention, pulling him to the gate, and then taking cover and busting through the gate. When he did that, I found myself being like, oh fuck yes, see, that's exactly what you do. You don't assault that. You just send a plague of zombies on them, let them fight each other out, and then murder the survivors. Like I enjoy that kind of thing. So it gave me hype in the sense that there's more depth and mechanics in this game than I had originally thought. I had originally thought it was just a run and gun, and its thing was that it had more zombie models than everything else. And I was like, okay, I mean that seems pretty cool, but there seems to be many creative ways to approach a situation, a la when Assassin's Creed was good. So I like that about a game. I like a game that says, here's a problem, you have multiple ways that you can approach the situation and solve it. It doesn't necessarily have to be open world, but you have to give me some choices.
Did you like Hitman, the Hitman series?
Yes, I do.
Okay, I think I can see where you're coming from. I didn't know. I'm interested to know how many people were on the fence about the first trailer, but this one solidified it for them. Because for me, it did the opposite.
Oh no,
not for me. Neither trailer did anything.
Neither of it, because I looked.
Well, obviously, there's the combination. There's people like you that it didn't. Neither trailer sold you, or people like me that the first trailer sold me, but not the second. But then people like Brett that the first trailer had him on. You know, he was a little iffy about it, but the second one.
I'm reading in the comments, there are other videos showing alternate routes that you can change the outcome of different situations.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah,
okay.
Like the one thing I'll say about this trailer is I do like the fact that you could actually fight humans too. It's not just you killing zombies the whole time, but at the same time, for me at least, it's still a zombie game, and I'm done, man.
I looked at it. I was like, the only thing I was impressed from, at least even from the last time, is just the amount of those things that they can get on the screen.
Yeah, that's impressive. Yeah,
which is cool. But at the same time, it's like I don't find biker zombie killer guy an interesting character.
Biker Joel.
Biker Joel. It's like a I don't.
They really haven't revealed anything about his story though, and I highly doubt they're going to do that in the trailer.
Here's the thing: there are like some characters that you just kind of get attracted to, right? Like,
why?
That looks like somebody that you want to play. He doesn't look like anything I want to play. Sorry, he's just the guy. He's just some guy on a bike.
He doesn't look cool at all. Like he looks like the dude that's trying to ask me to go to Starbucks with him.
Who's obviously?
I don't care about how the guy looks. I care about what story.
He was like, yo, a bunch of homos right there.
Yeah, basically. Why y'all give a fuck about how a nigga looks, son?
Okay,
you don't know his struggle.
Rico, I don't mean like that. I just mean like
you're gonna have to play the story and find him out. That this dude probably has a deeper characterization than Joel.
He could have a cool story, but he doesn't look cool. He looks boring as fuck.
It don't fucking matter how cool he should look, man.
Yes, it does.
It's also
I guess for the audience of gamers, I guess.
Wait, what happened?
Look, okay, if anybody's watched Walking Dead, like this game isn't far from formulaic. You mix Joel from a random fucking character from Walking Dead, or
I don't like The Walking Dead either. So.
I don't know. I
get that. But you have to understand, like, why is everybody have such a huge fucking hard on for The Last of Us?
I don't. I'm not. Game, I see what you're saying.
It's made of the
because I was gonna say like I'm probably the only person in here that does not like the Last of Us. So
that's the part that I see, that I also see too, because it's another post-apocalyptic zombie apocalypse sort of game. They're not
Anthem is so fucking original.
Yeah, exactly. But they're not.
Anthem is more original than anything zombie related.
I was just saying, you goddamn idiots.
Man, he's so pissed. All right, man.
What?
Jesus fucking Christ. Okay. So now I'm just saying, for at least this sort of situation, it's just like we're rehashing the same sort of stuff again. It's like, hey, post-apocalyptic world. We're playing some guy on a bike or a guy with a beard or, who's going to be crafting stuff, who's morally gray. Come on, guys. At least this game did not impress me, and it doesn't impress me even after. There's only two things that impress me about this game. That there's zombie animals, and then there's a bunch of zombies. But again, it's not a place that I really want to go. That's it. There you go.
There was one thing that impressed me about this game, the trailer. It ended, so I could see a better game. That was the best part.
Okay. Wait, Brett, hold on. This is back on track, Brett. Other highlights, man.
Hold on. How can y'all say that, but then give Adam shit for not liking a game because it has dinosaurs in it?
Did I ever give Adam shit for not liking a game?
No, Manny, I'm excluding you from this.
Wait, what game?
Brett, you gave him shit too, man.
Wait, what game did? Wait, what? I must have missed this.
We're not gonna retrack that.
They'll be after the show.
I'm like, wait, with dinosaurs? Like, wait, what the hell? Like, okay.
Anyway, Brett, come on, man, more games.
Dragon Ball. Although I can't tell, is this a Budokai or a Street Fighter type game?
It's
It's neither. It's Skullgirls. It's Skullgirls meets Guilty Gear. It's neither. It's nothing like Street Fighter or.
So in other words, Street Fighter.
It's Jump Ultimate Stars, man.
Did you just compare? Okay. Oh my God, Street Fighter is nothing like Skullgirls or Guilty Gear, at all.
But it is closer to Street Fighter.
It's close. They're made out of the same DNA.
No, it's not. If you guys don't play fighting games, you don't understand that it's drastic.
I'm pretty sure I've been playing fighting games
longer than your ass. So okay.
You didn't. How can you compare? Never mind. There's no point.
It's not one of the Budokai games, right? Because Budokai games, you press one button and they win, right?
Well,
so what is it?
Also,
It's essentially a side. It's a one-on-one. Wait, actually, it's got 4 points.
2-on-2. Oh, yeah,
it's 3-on-3.
Yeah, 3-on-3. All right, so it's Marvel vs. Capcom.
So it's Marvel vs. Capcom.
Okay,
it's closer to that.
But Marvel, they do it in KOF. Like that 3v3 isn't just Marvel.
Yeah, okay.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like this. Never mind.
Okay, who cares? Nobody cares.
Street Fighter DNA. Let's just get that out of the way.
It's a 2D fighting game. That's all I meant. I want to know if it was 2D or 3D.
There you go.
If it's 2D, I don't give a fuck. Strike it from my list. I don't care anymore.
Damn.
Moving on.
Wow.
Sea of Thieves looks amazing. Everything I pretty much want out of a fighting game. I don't care about the cartoony style. And the second you shot somebody out of a cannon onto the deck of another person's ship, sold. For a minute there, I was like, I might have to buy an Xbox for this.
Shit.
Playing on PC, Brett.
Oh, by the way, Brett.
What about that Skulls one? The knockoff.
Skull and Bones or whatever.
Yeah, that was kind of. I was like, how
No, Skull and Bones is just Black Flag with the ass creep.
No,
it's
not
really
even.
is.
It's
Not even.
ship battles from
Not
Black
even.
Flag.
It's not even.
Just take Assassin's Creed out of Black Flag and just have the ship stuff, right?
But it's like, but that's what I'm saying. It's like, what's the chances? You know what I mean? That the same year these two games are released. You know what I mean?
It's not the same game at all, though.
It's the same idea. You're a pirate on a pirate ship.
No, you can't do that. Just because you're a pirate in both games are the same. Like what?
Yeah. I could do it.
No,
there. That's just.
Just like how Armageddon and Deep Impact are two totally different fucking movies. Come on, it's core. They're movies about fucking meteors that hit the Earth.
Assassin's Creed, man. It's Black Flag without Assassin's Creed.
Okay, no. Hold. I'm pausing this fucking conversation. In Sea of Thieves, you can exit your fucking ship.
Okay.
In the other one, you can. In Sea of Thieves, you have to play with friends.
Did they ever say that you can't exit the ship?
Yeah, I don't know about
Black Flag,
that. We have to confirm that for Skull and Bones.
Yeah. Skull and Bones, whatever.
All they've shown for Skull and Bones is team based. It's basically a MOBA. It is a ship. An Assassin's Creed ship.
That's accurate.
Uh-oh.
It's basically Assassin's Creed.
That was a game of the show.
But that's what it is. He's not wrong though. That's what it is. It's a pirate-based MOBA essentially.
Yeah. Okay, you lost me with that.
Yeah. Sea of Thieves is a team-based game. Yeah, you are on a ship, but one person has to man the rigging. One person has to man the rudder. One person has to man the fucking cannons. It's like a ship should actually be run. It's the game I've always been wanting for, where I can get on a ship, spaceship, pirate ship, whatever, with a group of friends, roll around, have adventures, and if I see somebody else playing the same world, just go up and fuck up their day, GTA Online style. Like, that is all that I've wanted. You've taken everything fun about GTA and crammed it into a pirate setting, and made me actually work with people so that I can call to them like, drop the sails on the right. You know, I need a gunner. Like I have daydreams of like, man, we could run a throwdown fucking pirate ship. We would rule the seas. Nobody would fuck with us, and communication would be key. And
so basically, what No Man's Sky should have.
That's what you wanted from GTA 5.
Yes. What Riku just said is accurate. That's why I'm hyped for Sea of Thieves. It's what No Man's Sky would be, except with pirates, and if it was a good game. That.
Yes, pretty much. Thank you.
So I kind of agree. I agree with most of the points, but I would tell you this, Brett. For someone that's a huge fan of Dark Souls, that combat and Sea of Thieves might be an insult to your intelligence, man.
It probably will be, but just the fact that I could, GTA had stunted combat too. Like I will make concessions. I won't say it's the perfect game, but yeah, if you could put Dark Souls combat in this game and give it like Dark Souls-esque graphics, I don't think I would ever need to buy another video game ever. That would be treading dangerous waters.
My one complaint with the game is that it's just too cartoony. I want it to be a little darker and grittier, especially dealing with pirates.
I think there are technical limitations that made it that way, honestly.
I think it's just because Rare worked on it, and that's what they do. So
that's a good point. All right, let's move on to Adam. What were some of your highlights, man?
No Way Out. That was great. That answers everyone's question that's always bitching about couch co-op. Oh, there's not enough couch co-op. They keep taking couch co-op. Well, here's a fucking game where it's required. Whether it's a couch or online, you made a point. You can't play, that game alone. It just won't work. It won't happen. So here you go. There you go. And it looked amazing. I love the fact that it's always in split screen. People don't say that. It's not that it's just a co-op. It's always split screen. You're never going to see the full screen for your side. So you're always going to see what the other one's doing, and you need to for a bunch of the different scenarios. The guy's going to say, all right, I'm going to take this dude out. Once they take him out, you got to run through the door. You got to time it. You can't just assume it. You're going to see him, and then you're going to see him take the guy out, and then you're going to make the run for it. That's awesome. Days Gone, I liked it. I thought that was cool. I liked the aesthetics. I liked what Brett said about setting up the traps and doing all that type of thing, and using the zombies or the mutants, whatever they are, to your advantage to help out. That's fun.
Do you care how the main character looks?
Nope. But you know what? I bet you they'll come out with some silly ass skins because every fucking
fuck you, Riku.
And they'll put something on it. Who knows? Maybe he'll look like Snake Eyes from G.I. Joe. Who gives a shit? You're just a bum. Think about it. They should all look like bums. I don't want to see anybody wear a nice shaved up, beard and a Caesar haircut. I don't want to see that shit. You gotta look dirty. I want to see everybody messed up looking. That's it. Maybe. And you know what? I want to see people shit in the woods. Thank you. Whoa! They never show people shitting in the woods. Never show people really doing all right.
Hey man, if they want to get gritty and do something different, that's how you do it.
You know what? Wow. You know what I loved about The Division? There was one line in there, and the guy could say it over and over, and I didn't give a shit. And he was like, "You smell that?" Yeah, I smell it. It's that dirty shit. I smell them. They can smell you. And you know what? That's real talk right there. Because no one's showering. You don't see them showering. You don't see anybody in any of these camps watching clothes. Shit. Okay? They're dirty. They're all dirty.
God, I'm fucking crying.
I want to ambush somebody while they're taking a shit in the woods.
Yeah, that should be a trophy. Catch it with your pants down. Gold trophy. Caught you slipping.
Leaning against a tree, and you just tie a rope around it.
Your worst.
Nigga still have shit dropping out his butt and everything.
In that trailer, and Days Gone in the trailer, they show him use a tree. Remember, he grabbed the rope and he tied him up on the tree like to choke him. Do that while the guy's squatting to take a shit.
I'll buy the game if that. I'll buy the game if that was in there. Caught you slipping. Gold trophy.
Yeah, and then you leave him like that. You leave them like that, and then you add some dialogue. So when an AI walks around like, "Yo, they caught Joe shitting," oh my god, that would be awesome.
Shit.
Well, you're crazy.
That's ain't good.
Oh god, I'm fucking crying, man.
Right, Adam, what else you got?
And the last Anthem got me. You know what? When I saw that, I looked at the stars. I looked up, and I'm like, this is what happened to Mass Effect. These fucking people say, you know what? This Mass Effect game looks like it's going to be shit. Can we go do something else? And they were like, yeah, you can go do something. And that's what they did. And they made this fucking game, and it's sad because if you look at it, if you don't throw an Anthem on it at all, if you look at it and you tell somebody, what do you think this is? and they didn't know about, let's say, Andromeda never came out, they're like, oh, that's a new Mass Effect.
That's true.
I'd tell you it's Destiny.
You know,
I feel like Destiny went third person.
I wouldn't. No, the first thing I thought
not in that camera angle.
You know,
So
the
camera is a big thing for you, isn't it?
It is. It's a big
I'm looking
thing.
at the gameplay.
All right. So let me keep going because I had two other ones. There's two other big highlights. Right. I was like, oh shit, those are good. Need for Speed Payback. That looked awesome. Fast and the Furious. The whole QTs, the way they did it with the cars, that was pretty cool. Where you have to pull up in certain spots.
Well, I'm sorry, I must have misheard you. Can you repeat that last game you just said?
Need for Speed Payback.
So you're why they keep making those fucking games.
Nope. I don't like any of those damn games. The only last one I liked was Paradise, and that wasn't even the Need for Speed series.
That was Burnout. You know?
Exactly. That's what I'm
I
saying.
was about to say, when is Burnout?
That's what I'm saying. But I don't like any of those Need for Speeds. But they incorporated a lot of that crash tech in there because you saw when they were hitting the cars and they show them flipping around and stuff. That's Burnout. You know, so I'm like, oh, this is gonna be great. No, and then Call of Duty World War II. I love Call of Duty. There you go. Shout out. Pro gamers for life.
I'm actually, you know what? I'm actually shocked, but I agree with you. Call of Duty World War I was going to say World War II. World War II.
Yeah,
I mean, it might as well be what it is, in all honesty.
That
game impressed the hell out of me.
Yep.
And I don't like COD. I have not liked COD in like 12 years. I don't know. It's like something like almost 2 decades probably. I have not liked Call of Duty since Call of Duty 2. And that game, I was like, I'm buying that day one. I have to. Like the combat, the multiplayer combat, people were getting shot 3 times to the mass and dying. They didn't show any stupid perks. Like there was no like people dying and then Blue Cross Red Shield come up on the screen and they get extra health or they shit a grenade out. Like no, people just died because they were dead.
That's it. There's no rechargeable shield. You need your health.
None of that.
That's it. You can drag people. You could drag somebody to safety and shit. I'm like, whoa.
Yep, you can drag them when they're dead. Yeah. Oh my god, I'm buying that game. And I'm killing people, and I'm stabbing with the bayonet and just like whispering inappropriate things.
Good. Yeah, cut to the face.
Okay, I don't know about that, but yeah.
But that was it. Yeah, those were my highlights. I was like, you know what, it's all right. I wasn't too impressed with the Sony one because they showed great games. Spider-Man looks awesome. I didn't think it was on rails. I thought that was just that cinematic scene. I saw it more like Uncharted when they did that whole train sequence. Uncharted 3. That's what I saw it as. But the fact is, everything is so far away. You know what I mean? It's like 2018 someday. You know, I'm like, oh, you know, it's like show me something that's coming within, I don't know, holiday season. You know, and
wait, what was the release dates on the Sony game? I thought like 2 or 3 of them were coming out this year.
No, 2018.
No, all of them, majority of them were 2018.
Yeah, majority
the
are
fuck?
like, yeah.
Wait, no. Yeah. They had to have shown something that's coming this holiday season, right?
Ni no Kuni 2 is the only thing that I like.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Oh.
Isn't Gran Turismo Sport coming out this holiday?
No.
Mario Odyssey is coming out.
That's not a Sony game.
No, that's not
I'm sorry.
That will be a Sony game.
I don't give a fuck if none of these games come out. My backlog's crazy, but
yeah,
I understand that. No, let me get this straight. So they did a conference, and they didn't show any games coming this holiday season.
Ni no Kuni 2 is the only one.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. This is the main thing I had a gripe about Sony. They know that they are in first place right now. They're complacent, as I would say.
They're turning into old Sony, which makes me nervous.
Yeah,
2006 Sony. And
no,
they
but
feel
I mean,
they feel that they don't have to.
Yeah.
They feel right now they don't have to do much to keep first place, which is why I'm rooting fucking Nintendo and Microsoft to.
But they don't. To be honest with you,
Rico, hold on a second. You're saying Sony is not doing enough to to stay in first place. Did you not see the last fucking quarter of the year? Like these dudes are killing it right now with all these games coming out, and I think they're doing a repeat.
No, I'm not talking. I'm not talking about
release all their big games in the first quarter.
I'm not talking about from a software. I personally wasn't talking about from a software standpoint. I was talking about from a hardware standpoint. Like,
you mean with the Pro and shit? Why? I thought we were talking about games.
Well, I was talking about Sony, from a hardware standpoint.
Okay.
I mean, where was that rumored Vita?
Yeah,
I forgot all about that. What the fuck?
Yeah, but anyway, let's move on here. What's the next question? Okay, who is getting an Xbox One X or Xbox One X upcoming software lineup on PC like I am? I hope these titles don't get canceled or end up in development hell. So he's basically saying, are you going to get these Xbox games on a PC or an Xbox One X?
I'll probably
PC.
I'm going to get them. I'm getting the X just because I already have an S, and I like playing. I like the Xbox controller, so I figured why not. But if I have a PC that's able to run the games, I mean, I'll probably play some games there. I mean, that's the cool thing about the Microsoft system right now. It's like they finally realize like you're not gonna win PC gamers over the console. Like that's never gonna happen because they have a superior gaming experience already. Why would they buy a console? So I mean, and it's cool because I can play with my friends that don't have consoles that are just PC gamers. So someone, or they don't, maybe they have a PS4 or a Switch and they don't want to get an Xbox, but they still want to play those games with me. They can still play them. So either way, it doesn't matter to me. But I'm gonna get an X just because I want my PC that I want to build out X is probably gonna cost me like a clean 1,800.
Yeah, so, if you want a good PC, just need that kind of money, Like
the one I'm going for, I mean, I wouldn't have to. Like, I'm probably gonna go a little bit overboard, but yeah, I'm going to. So
if you're gonna go in, man, go in. I spent like almost 3,000 on my joint.
God damn. Okay.
If you're going in, you're going in.
On what? Did your
plan? That's all that matters.
Does your PC have like a Tenga cup port in it so they can literally have sex with it? Like, how did you spend $3,000 on your PC?
Close to it with all the accessories and all this other shit, man. Because
never mind. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, remember, I'm even including my fucking ill ass monitor here.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
I you just meant just right. Yeah. Oh, by the way, you already know me. I'm not getting that fucking Xbox One X. My PC kills it. There's no point for that. But I will enjoy playing those games on PC, like Cuphead and whatever else Microsoft has this year, which I don't really know.
But that was the funny thing I was telling you about, like with Phil Spencer's interview after the whole thing. He was like, oh yeah, PC's king. PC's always going to be king. We just want to be the second king when it comes to consoles. We want to be comparable to a PC. We know we are not better than a PC. And when he said that, I'm like, oh, all right. So you're smelling the coffee. You're doing this. So the thing is that they're just hoping that other people go along. They're hoping that when reviewers start reviewing games, especially the multi-platform, because that's all they got, they're going to say, well, yeah, the Pro one looks great, but damn it, don't compare to the damn X. And that eventually that'll just sink into people's heads. Wait, this is what I think he's thinking. I know what a lot of these third parties are saying, that they're going to keep an even playing field. That they're going to, if they do 30 on one, they're going to be 30 on the other. They don't want any of that bullshit because it hurts them in the long run because they're spending all this time developing for one console and nobody's buying that shit. But in his mind, and the way he even explained it, he was like, that's what worked for the 360. Because when the PS3 would get the multiplayer, remember, they were like, oh, well, this had some frame rate issues, but it ran smooth on 360. And so people were like, fuck, I'm just going to get the 360 one. So I think they're trying to do the whole full circle. It's like it worked on 360. Let's bring that shit back right now. But he also knows a lot of people ain't gonna buy it. He said it. He's like, it's not for everybody. He said it's for our core audience.
Yeah, but also
his exact quote was that this holiday season and for the first years, he expects the best on the Xbox model to be the Xbox One S.
Yeah. But also during that time, the Xbox competitor was more expensive.
It was, yeah, and the Xbox was easier to develop for too. PS3 was very, very difficult. By the way, I do want to jump to the next question because this is related to this. From Michael Long, what are your thoughts on Xbox One X and checkerboard rendering? I need to stop this right now because we told you motherfuckers this shit for months. We told you that every game on Xbox One X or Scorpio back in the day was not going to be that much different than what you're going to see on the Pro, right? Why? Because it's, remember, they want parity, right? You can't have Destiny 2 running at 30 frames on Xbox One and then running at 60 on the X. That shit, it won't fly like that. And we told you guys, listen, these developers are not going to put extra work into the a version of a game. Let's just be real, that will not sell as much, right? Like it was Scorpio. Phil Spencer always said Scorpio will not be selling that much.
So that's the thing, though. It's not even that argument. It's not sales based. It's laziness. And the reason I'm saying that is specifically because of Destiny 2. Look at Destiny 2. That game, there's no escapes for that game running 30 frames per second. I'm sorry, that's bullshit.
I actually quickly need to say this. I'm hesitant to say laziness on the developer's part, but in my heart, I'm like kind of lazy.
I'm not gonna say that they made. Yeah, I'm not gonna say that's the case for every developer out there. Obviously, I know that these dudes work their ass off, but for Bungie, the money that Destiny has made, robbing people on that bullshit DLC they did in the first game, and this sequel that looks pretty much like an expansion for the first game, you're locking this shit at 30 on Pro and S, and both of those systems, can run it at 60.
They're not going to have people running at different frame rates because the guys who are playing at 60 against the guys that are playing at 30, they're going to murder them. That's going to happen. They got to have that parity, understand? But again, this is something we told you guys for months.
But here's the funny thing: they're locking the PC version of Destiny 2 at 30 frames per second.
Well, there you go, parity.
PC? How in 2017? How do you release a game on PC and tell them, the preferred way to play this at 30 frames is at 30 frames per second? Also, we would really like it if you had your resolution at 800 by 600 for premium Destiny 2 game. Like, what the fuck? Like, what is this, 1994? Like, no, you can't restrict stuff like that when the hardware is readily available. And at the time of Destiny 2's release, because is that coming out this year or next year?
By the way, people in the comments are saying that it's unlocked on PC.
Well, according to what Destiny Dev said, it's going to be 30 frames on PC.
Yeah. Well, okay, so these guys are saying it's 60. But anyway, the point is, and by the way, Manny and I pointed this out. You notice how all the games are getting, I was going to say pro patches, but that are getting enhanced on Xbox are all games that have pro patches already.
All those games, Rhyme, all those games that they flashed by on the side, if you saw it, they're all the games that were already PlayStation Pro patched.
Yeah.
So that's what you're going to get.
Checkerboard rendering thing doesn't surprise, or sparse rendering as they call it, doesn't surprise me. No third-party developer. Some will, but for the most part, these guys are not going to go out of their way. They're not going to do it.
I'm going to say this: the games that are going to be uncompromised are going to be those smaller type of games that aren't that insane. I'm sure you're going to see fucking that car soccer game at like 60 at 4K.
Rocket League.
Rocket League. Okay.
I'm sure you're going to see shit like shit like Rocket League and a bunch of other.
I think Rocket League at 60 frames on a Switch.
Yeah, so that game, that game, you're gonna see shit like that, or you're gonna see like in 4K, smaller games like that. Even maybe some of those little side scrollers and stuff like that. Things that aren't ultra graphically intensive.
By the way, in all honesty, it's not going to really matter for multi-platforms for a large part of what you and Tony just said. It's going to be matter for the exclusives.
Mm-hmm.
Digital Foundry had a video of they're playing Destiny 2 on PC at 4K 60. So I doubt there's going to be a cap.
It's not, for PC, it's not going to be locked, but for consoles, it is.
Yeah, for the console, it is. I mean, that's
what's the
is there crossplay?
Is it okay for PC?
If there is, it won't be for PlayStation and PC, or it won't be for PlayStation and Xbox. It'll only be PC
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, so they're pretty much doing it for parity of the players that have the pro versions versus, the high-end versions versus their standard versions. But then what would be the point of blocking PC? Even though, there are a lot of people saying
they're not locking PC apparently. So
my question is, what's the install base on PC? What's the community like for Destiny on PC? We know what it is on the consoles.
There's no way to know. It's never come out on PC yet.
Yeah, it's never come out on PC. This is the first Destiny that's out on PC.
I was wondering.
Okay, it looks like it could go up as high as 144 frames a second on PC. Yeah. All right, so there you go. Like the whole checkerboard rendering, we told you guys that shit.
You're not going to see again. Like keep saying this before. The only ones you're going to really see this stuff from is from internal Sony or Microsoft studios or any of the games. But even the internal Sony or Microsoft studios are probably going to go with checkerboard rendering to upscale it to 4K. But again, who gives a shit for 4K at this point in time?
Microsoft is kind of fudging what real 4K means now. If you saw that chart they had, like, all right, so I guess everything falls under 4K. Pretty interesting because they're running around saying, "Oh, we're the only 4K console." It's like, not really.
I think my question when I heard this and when he was talking about for the foreseeable future, and he was saying those type of things, I'm like, so how long is this X going to be around? You know what I mean? Like, I don't think they're thinking of the next one for some time. You know what I mean? So let's say if PS4 announces, let's say next year, then 2020, they're going to have 5 come out.
They better not.
No, they have.
They
something.
better
They
not.
PS5 ain't dropping until at least 2019.
Yeah, this Xbox One X is supposed to be just the intermediary like console before they release the next
Pro.
one.
Yeah, pretty much. All right.
The Pro is very expensive.
Yeah. The next question here is: out of all the conferences, which had the best, and which one had the best showing?
I don't know. All of them felt like the same like tone, or like it just felt like they were all kind of going. Ooh, but there wasn't really any spikes in that. It was like, all right, this is cool. All right, we knew this was coming. All right, this is fine. And then there was Bethesda and EA.
Yeah, those were.
It stayed at the same level for Microsoft and Sony, and then it dropped to the bottom for fucking EA and Bethesda.
Well, I'll give credit to Ubisoft. They did not hire some celebrity fuck up. They didn't get like Cessla or anything. They had a straight up conference, and it was actually good, compared to E3's past, where you have Aisha Tyler or Joe McHale or some other jackass.
Hashtag Lady Boner, man.
Yeah, the Ubisoft one was the only one I didn't. I mean, besides I didn't get to see, and I heard that was a really good one.
I always like Ubisoft. I mean, what I was surprised is that they didn't announce a launch game. Like, I mean, not a launch game, but a game that's out now. They always like to do that. Like, this is now in the store. Da, da, da. They didn't do that this time.
Just Dance
released that same time.
I don't know if it's going to release at the same time, but it's probably going to release real soon. And that shit's got a Wii U version, a PlayStation 3.
That's not a Freudian slip by Manny. A Wii U, not Switch.
It has a Wii and a Wii U version, and a PlayStation 3 version, and
a Windows Phone version.
Android and shit.
Does it run at Windows 95?
BlackBerry version.
Yeah. Anyway, Riku, man, I'm gonna go down the line here. Riku, what's your what do you think was the best conference?
Best conference? I don't remember that being the question.
That is the question.
Basically, okay. Well, I would say the best conference is Nintendo's.
Really? Okay. Yeah. Let's get into that.
Okay. So basically,
because I want to know where you're coming from with that one.
So basically, when it comes to me and what I look at when it comes to what you show off at E3, for me, I want to see stuff that I've announcements of specific games or IPs that that weren't previously shown off at the other ones, regardless if it shows off gameplay or not. And I felt that from what people wanted from Microsoft versus what people wanted at Sony versus what people wanted at Nintendo, they're all of their perspective things. I felt that Nintendo pleased their Nintendo audience more than Sony pleased the Sony audience, and that Microsoft pleased their audience. So I give it to Nintendo.
By the way, you need to jump in here. Riku, you are right, my friend. The actual question is, which conference showed the best game? So you're right about that. Okay, so let's go with that question. What conference had the best game?
Yeah, well, okay. If that's the question, what conference showed the best game? Like I said, for me, Anthem is my game of the show, so I give that to Microsoft.
Interesting.
All right. The big news, though.
Plus, they have Dragon Ball FighterZ. That too. Those like the top two. Huh?
How do we all forget about the big news?
Which one?
Big news that Microsoft and Nintendo working together for crossplay for Rocket League.
Oh yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Nintendo. I mean,
Nintendo playing nice with somebody else. What?
Yeah.
Nintendo's done a bunch of shocking stuff this year.
Yeah.
If you had told me 5-10 years ago that there'd be crossplay between consoles and one of the companies doing it would be Nintendo, I'd have laughed in your face.
Yep.
And I'm not. I would have laughed like a hearty, like soulful tear, like go home and sleep good laugh.
Okay.
Here we are now.
Oh my God.
What if I would have also told you that due to raising concerns a couple weeks before, Nintendo would address the fans surrounding one of their game franchises in a unplanned reveal?
The Pokemon stuff?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
I know that they just mentioned that they worked on a Pokemon game, but the fact that they recognized that they pissed off their fan base by baiting them and switching them, and then acknowledged it and took steps to like repair, like that, I was like, I've never seen Nintendo. That was as close to an apology as you're ever gonna get.
Yeah, this was like opposite E3 for both Ubisoft and Nintendo. I think mostly for them. Like the Mario Rabbids game, I'm like, they would never let that happen. It would have to go back to the 80s to have something like that happen. It ain't happen in a long time.
Well, the
and not in that
the
capacity.
Rabbids game has kind of been a Nintendo exclusive.
That's true.
No,
Raiding
not
Rabbits
the
hasn't been
crossover
anything.
though. Not letting Ubisoft have Mario, right?
I don't know. I mean, I don't. Yeah, Ubisoft have Mario, but I think it seems like in a lot of ways, Nintendo has kind of been giving over. The way they kind of do exclusives now is just by putting Mario or Luigi stuff in other people's games.
Like Mario and Sonic at the Olympics.
Well, no,
Not even-
no, it's like having Link's outfit in Skyrim. It's
Yeah, but
like
that's just an outfit.
putting a Mario, like putting Bayonetta in
Again,
in
Bayonetta's a second character. A Link outfit is just an outfit. To have them have the character and use it the way they did and interact with something outside of Nintendo's control, that they're pushing their comfort zone now, and that's kind of reassuring to see.
I think they're doing that because they're making money. I mean, Fire Emblem Heroes is like one of the biggest mobile games out right now. Nintendo
Well, that's
doesn't
a
make
whole
it.
other
They gave the
conversation
rights.
about mobile, and
Yeah,
they
but
are making
that's
money.
a bit. But I mean, that's still gaming. Like Nintendo giving something that is very popular and held dear by fans that they could just not let people handle, giving it to another company to make and profiting off.
They've
Like Soul Calibur.
that would
Soul Calibur
they
2.
didn't give it. They didn't give it to another company. Nintendo was still in control of it.
Nintendo didn't develop it. That's another company developed that game.
The Nintendo did not really develop a lot of games, like Mario and Sonic in the Olympics. There's also quite a bit of other ones that they hire other studios to make them. Not every single Nintendo game is made inside of Nintendo.
No, what I'm saying is they basically went to a company unrelated to Nintendo in any facet and said, we want you to make this game for us, and they're doing it, and they're splitting revenue. Like, it's not like Nintendo's taking like 90% of revenue from Fire Emblem Heroes. They're splitting that shit.
All right.
Yeah. By the way, Chris Reyes says Sony already did crossplay with Microsoft before. People were forgetting Final Fantasy 11.
Okay, and name a game after that.
Yeah, it didn't happen. After that, that's true.
I know. Some people were like, "Oh, well, Sony asked Microsoft to do crossplay last
What is
generation."
it with that voice? Oh my god!
This is funny. That's my fanboy voice. So I gotta do the fan because this is
That's
the
how we
fanboys that
compare
are
to all of us.
Oh my god!
That'd be funny if I hear all you motherfuckers like that.
All the
No, but
time
that's
on
my-
PlayStation, he'll just do that voice, and I'm always confused. Like, what are you doing right now?
That's the fanboy voice.
Yo,
So
but
the
let's get
fanboys,
back- let's get back to it. Hey, Hayden, man, what was the best game you saw there, man?
Best game I saw?
Yeah, out of the conferences and stuff. Like, which conference had the best game?
Microsoft. That
And
Dragon
which
Ball
game
game.
Oh,
That Dragon Ball, yeah, that Dragon Ball game. I was like,
seizure with all
I
the
never-
colors and stuff. I'm like,
I never thought I would see like a legit fighting game for Dragon Ball. I thought it was always going to be that like 3D, press a button, mash, anything, like keep it simple for everyone.
They did have fighting games, like very close to Street Fighter-ish games before the Budokai stuff, but those were not very well made.
Yeah, Super Famicom and shit.
Yeah, we're talking Super Famicom. We're talking a lot, and Sega Saturn. Those games were 2-on-2, 4-on-4 fighting games, but they weren't actually really well made games. I think the biggest part of that Dragon Ball Z game is that they actually got a real good fighting game creator to do the game, as opposed to just kind of, hey, look, it's the one button win game where you just
remember Ultimate Battle 22?
Hell yes.
Yeah.
When I said that, when I said that, I meant like you're gonna see this game at Evo.
Yes,
the year comes out.
Yeah.
You will see this game will be at every major tournament. Like fighting game players are gonna go hard at this.
It's because they got a real fighting game creator to make it.
Okay, hold on. I need to. You guys are all talking a whole lot of shit. Like, did nobody enjoy the Budokai games? And I know you say it's one button to win, but
those are
Budokai. But when I say,
bro,
I'm not even hating on Budokai, but Budokai isn't a competitive fighting game. You would not see that at a tournament.
I will make that thing. But like when y'all are talking about like, okay, when Manny says it's press one button to win, are you pressing one button to win, or are you just getting your ass handed to you by somebody else who's pressing?
Listen, we knew a guy who used to play those fucking games, and he was the top player in those fucking Budokai games. It doesn't take that much to do that.
Could you beat him?
Wait, if it doesn't take that much to do it, why was he the only person at the top? Why is it
He's
not?
the only
Larry.
one because he was the only one who decided to actually go for it. Because most of them are just little 4-year-olds like, yeah, I want to play Dragon Ball games.
Damn. Okay.
That's exactly what that shit is.
I wasn't throwing that much shade, but goddamn.
Oh come on, that's what that
They got-
is. That is. They are.
Hey Manny, I
Those
bet you
games are
couldn't
pretty.
beat me at Budokai.
I don't give a shit about Budokai.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. We got money matches. I got. You know what? I got 10 on Manny. Let's go. I got 10 on Manny.
How about
Press
this,
your button
Brett?
to win, man. Let's see what happens.
How about this, Brett? How about this? You already won because I already dropped the fucking controller because I don't give a fucking shit.
Okay, well, I just lost $10
Okay.
because you don't even want to play the game. I just lost $10. Thanks, Manny.
Exactly. So there you go. There you go. So the thing is, yes, you love those Budokai games. They're very pretty looking games. They're as pretty as the Naruto games or any one of those other games that are based on those things. This is the real deal.
Oh no! This game is more like Naruto.
This is where the big boys play, and this is not where like, yay, look, I can press one move and make some pretty colors happen on.
That's not Budokai. I would say that's Naruto Storm.
Thank you.
Maybe Xenoverse, but that's not
But
Budokai.
again, those games they look very nice, but they're not what this is going to be.
Yeah, I know. I understand what you're saying, but I doubt you know really
And yes, they may
of a
be
fighter.
fun. They may be fun to the to people out there, but again, they're not the same sort of game. They're not. In other words, they're not just the
No.
real
I'm not.
deal
No,
right
I
now,
agree with
man.
you. They're not on the same tier, but you can't sit here and say that Budokai is in the same
It's
tier
like
as Naruto Storm.
it's like comparing. Oh, it's like comparing Super Smash Brothers to Street Fighter. Yes, they're fighting games.
Actually, that's
Smash
pretty.
Brothers.
You know what? That's pretty damn accurate.
I'll take
I
it.
don't have an argument for that.
I would say
Yeah.
I would say there's 3 tiers, dude. At the bottom is Naruto Storm. Above that is Budokai, and then above that is Fighters Z.
Why you gotta show Naruto Storm?
Because that literally, if you look at the combo system in Naruto Storm, it's circle, circle, circle.
He's not lying. It's literally there was a chart.
If you're
that was
talking
full
about
of-
a button, if you're talking about a game,
show
one
that.
button to press to win, that's it right there.
Yeah, oh
Not
my God. The
Budokai.
Kashi combos. That's literally on PlayStation. It was literally circle, circle, circle.
Yeah,
circle,
exactly.
Square.
Yeah, that's
and
not
like, They
Budokai,
lost
man.
75% of their health. You're like, what?
It's not Budokai.
What?
But
Budokai, you can compare it to Smash Brothers. You can compare it to ARMS. It's simple inputs based on timing and space. But you know what? So is fucking Dark Souls. Like I know people, and I've played
back
people
at Dark
competitively.
Souls again.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
I
like,
have to
wait,
say,
how did we get to Dark Souls?
Yeah. You know, we're about to.
Come on,
I'm stopping right now. Okay. Manny, what was the best game you saw?
I'm gonna go with the Microsoft one from the new Dragon Ball Z game.
You almost call it Budokai. What the
Well,
fuck?
I was gonna call it Budokai because we're talking about Budokai. Anyway, so I was gonna say that one because it was nice to see. Again, I love Arc System Works. I think they're a company that doesn't get a lot of respect, especially when it comes to the Street Fighters and all those ones. Those guys have continued to make good games. Make games that are licensed games, like the Fist of the North Star game that they made,
Yes.
like the Persona game that they made, and so this is another one in those lines of really
They should definitely continue doing that.
stellar fighting games, but done with these really cool franchises. And I hope that it gives more shine to their own titles, like the Guilty Gears and like the Blade Blues.
I see Arc System definitely doing kind of what Omega Force did with the Warriors games, where they're like, oh well, we know these guys aren't going to play dinosaurs, but they will play it if there's One Piece characters, but they will play it if they're Gundam characters. They are taking the Warriors formula and then putting popular franchises into that engine.
Hold on, I gotta stop this right now. So Delta Boy in the comments goes, the best game you saw was a run-of-the-mill fighter. Really? Dude,
It was a run-of-the-mill fighter.
How is that a
There's
run-of-the-mill
haters,
fighter?
man. I saw haters on Twitter when they were
See, now here's the thing. Like when you read a comment like that, it is your job, Tony, as an intelligent person, to just delete it and not respond to it. That's a stupid comment. That's a stupid comment. Like objectively, what he said is dumb.
I'm not gonna say stupid because he's one of the fans, but it's a very dumb comment.
I mean, the comment is dumb. Like run of the mill. What mill are you at? Where that's the average? Show me a fighting game on the market now.
Yeah, come on,
that's
bro,
like,
seriously,
oh yeah, this is the standard. Like, what are you talking about?
Dragon Ball Z is killing every other fighting game out right now, bro. Like, come on, man. Like,
did you see how people trash Marvel after seeing Dragon Ball? They rip Marvel apart. It doesn't even compare anymore. Like that game raised the bar for a licensed fighting game.
You know, it's funny. I was saying that Marvel vs. Capcom wasn't a very good looking game, and now everybody fucking says that now.
Yeah.
I was saying.
I was saying it before that too. I was with you on that. Trust me.
I was saying that this game was just not looking right. The style of the game was just kind of weak. It just kind of lost all of its character from the previous games, and I'm not even concluding the last one. I didn't really care for that one either. So, you know, you take a game that actually looks like the style of the actual game. The show. I don't know.
Yeah,
anyway, I'm just waiting for the announcer to say last time on Dragon Ball Z. Like, that's what I was waiting for watching that shit.
Right.
That's
Chris,
what it looked like.
Yeah, Chris, get in here, man. What was your favorite game?
Everybody's going to be shocked. I'm going to say Super Mario Odyssey.
Get the fuck out of here.
I didn't see that coming.
I did not see that.
Who is this? Who are you?
I saw that coming. I wish I could have guessed.
You know what put me over the edge?
What?
He can possess things with his hat.
Oh my god. One thing that I didn't like. One thing I thought that was the stupidest gimmick ever. Is your favorite thing about the game?
Yeah, exactly. And I'll explain. Listen, Mario, Nintendo has been full of crappy gimmicks. Like it is.
Yeah, like water squirting.
Yeah, well, okay. So sometimes people didn't like that game, and they didn't like water squirting.
I like
because
Sunshine.
it reminded them too much of like GameCube launched with Luigi's Mansion, and both games had backpacks, and they didn't want gimmicks in their games. But this makes for, I think it makes for a very interesting playthrough. Otherwise, you just have another run-of-the-mill Mario game. If he's just running and jumping on things and whatever, it's the same. It's what's different from Galaxy to this one. You need something to differentiate all these games, right? You can't do the backpack thing again. You can't do a million different animal suits. That's been done. So you need you needed something else. And I think this was kind of clever. Also, it added a co-op aspect to the game because a second player can control the hat. So
wait, has there been a Mario 3D third-person Mario game that you can actually get into suits in?
Yeah, in Galaxy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, in Super Mario 3.
And in
3D
World, you had a cat suit and you had some other suit in Galaxy.
3D World really is a 3D. I said third-person view. So
yeah.
Yeah, 3D World.
Honestly, I was just hoping they'd make like a new Mario RPG, and I have no interest in Odyssey. It looks stupid to me, so
I think they're remaking Superstar Saga. So there's that, and I don't know if the Yoshi game is an RPG.
It's not.
There's a Superstar Saga, and there's something else with the Mario RPG.
You know what I want? I want a third-person 3D Kirby game. That's what I want.
No, we don't need to get into that right now.
That would actually be good.
Yeah, let's move on. Carlos, man, what was your game?
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man just looked like a game that
she was crazy.
Like it just looked fun as hell.
For me on Spider-Man, it looks cool. I just want to see more, to be honest. So I haven't made my full decision on that game yet.
Right,
I'm sold. I actually don't need to see any more.
Yeah. Brett, what was your game, man?
What was my
what game did you? Okay, what conference do you think showed the better game, and what game was it?
Bethesda, Skyrim.
Hey, DQ this nigga. Like what? No. That's not cool.
Well,
that's not cool. Why?
Yeah, he's joking. Man. He's joking, man.
Oh, I thought he was serious. I was like,
joking.
what?
He's joking.
Actually, I'm only half joking. I was really impressed by the way that the UI seemed to work in Skyrim. I fucking hated the combat in Skyrim. I don't know if I'm the only one, but it is one of the worst like melee combat. Like the exploration, the open world, that's fun. Combat's fucking terrible. So if you rendered or connected your sword in real time so that you just push the sword out or swing it around and it makes contact with an enemy, or you just raise your shield, which it looks like what they're doing, they're kind of building it the simulation that I've always really wanted to see for VR. So I know everybody else doesn't give a fuck about VR and nobody believes me, but I say it and I keep saying it and it keeps getting bigger. VR is going to be a thing. It's being used in the tech industry. It's broken out of the entertainment industry. People choose stocks by putting on a headset and virtually going through warehouses right now. I got into talking.
But that's not gaming though.
No, it's not gaming, but it's Roots that's going to support this in gaming. It's going to happen in gaming. It's not everybody who thinks this is going to die. It's impossible to die because it already has a fucking lifeline outside of gaming.
No one's like saying that though. I'm just saying for gaming, I don't think it's viable. But for obviously VR is going to keep going. It's viable for other things. It's just not good for gaming.
The only thing about Skyrim I wanted to ask you about, Brett. What makes it any different than waggling your hands around with a Wiimote?
Because there seems to be a 1-to-1 response ratio or whatever.
Seems is the key word.
Seems to be. That's what seems to be.
Seems to be. How can you seem to be 1-to-1? You're either 1-to-1 or you're not.
But that's what the
1-to-1.
Wii Motion Plus was there for, right?
Well, it's.
I forgot about
No, we never did that. I could never hold out my hand in Wii and like see my hand moving around in real time. Like there's several VR demonstrations. Farpoint was another one of them where if you actually just kind of like just looking at somebody playing the game, you can tell that there's somebody holding the gun and that gun is responding in real space to where they're holding the gun. So it doesn't seem to be like in Wii where you swing it and it enacts an animation of you swinging it on screen. It's actually represented depending on where your hand is in real time. Same with the shield. So you don't.
There were a couple of games that actually did use 1-to-1 tracking like that. But again, it's where you're still being asked to get up off of your ass and do something rather than
I could be on my ass and do that. I could sit down and do that, and that's
you can also be on your ass and do it with the Wii. But I'm saying, what is the difference between this, which seems to be almost exactly the same thing, as something like a Wii?
Because we didn't do 1-to-1 tracking.
There were games that did do 1-to-1 tracking.
To the average consumer, they're not going to care about that. I think is what he's saying.
Yeah, no, and I understand, and I'm not talking about the average consumer. I'm talking about what excited me the most, and I'm excited for the prospect of developing VR as a gaming platform, and this seems a huge step in the right direction. We have Doom, we have Fallout, and we have Skyrim, some of the biggest mainline titles out there today making the transition to VR, and these are not easy things. These are large, two of them are large open world titles. This is not a small step by any means, and it is a huge nod towards people taking the idea of VR seriously. And yes, I know that Skyrim's imported to everything under the sun, but again, I've been talking for years about how I've wanted to see this, how I've wanted to play an open world Bethesda game in VR, and I got not one but two from a single conference that ended with Wolfenstein. So if you're asking me what conference I like the best, I like Bethesda's conference. Also, Microsoft fucking killed it. I want to really give my props to Nintendo, but the big props for Nintendo that I have are Metroid Prime, which we didn't see anything about, and the announcement and commitment they were actually working on a mainline Pokemon title. Okay. So they had the best announcements, in my opinion, but they didn't have the best games. And none of our questions really give the wiggle room for announcements. So I wanted to throw that out there. I'm really impressed with their conference, but they announced more than they showed. So if we're talking about things that I was shown, that I was impressed by, it was the application of VR in open world games that Bethesda showed me. And also they ended up with Wolfenstein. I really liked the last Wolfenstein. So and the DLC, like there's been everything that's been touched by that whoever is making that group of Wolfenstein games has been fucking gold. So I have no doubt in my mind that I will enjoy this Wolfenstein quite a bit. So I saw a lot of what I wanted to see gameplay wise, game ready wise. Like I saw the most there.
All right, Adam, what about you, man?
No Way Out. No Way Out. That was a game for me. When I saw that, I'm like, wow, this is different. This is different. I mean, there was a bunch of games that looked great. Everything else looked great. I mean, Spider-Man looked great. COD, all these, we already know that. But for something that's different, this is different. A co-op game that's mandatory with the split screen, and there's multiple ways to do things. It's not like, oh, well, you have to do this, you have to do that. No, you just figure it out. And you're in prison. It reminds me of like Prison Break. It's like, all right, figure this shit out. You two figure it out. He's doing his own thing. You're doing your own thing. How can you guys work together? Maybe you'll find a ladder. Maybe you'll find something. Maybe you have a shank. He doesn't. I don't know. But I have a feeling that it's going to be an interesting game, and it's going to change things. I think it's going to be a big hit. So No Way Out was one for me.
All right, cool. For me, and I need to change hats. because you know what time it is, man.
Time to pony up.
Gotta pony up.
Are you about to get your fucking saddle for your horse as well? What the fuck is happening? What am I? Am I in church right now? Am I about to be indoctrinated?
Sony Pony Church?
Yeah,
Oh, God.
obviously for me, the best conference was Sony, because Sony, what they do, unlike other conferences, they actually put on a show for you. You go there, there's fucking bombs going off everywhere. They got an orchestra. They got shit coming off the ceiling, crazy shit. But my game was motherfucking God of War, man. That looks so good. Like you see the world serpent, see Kratos fucking shit up. You get to hear him talk more. Christopher Judge is one of my favorite actors of all time, Teal'c from Stargate, and I love how his voice matches with Kratos. And yeah, this game right here, because here's the thing, I felt the God of War games ran their course, right? That you can't really do those type of games anymore because it's just repetitive. Like Ascension was fucking stupid, so I like the direction they're going in, right? And I really enjoyed what they're doing here. Like they're really going in with the whole Norse mythology thing. You saw fucking Thor's hammer, this giant fucking structure. It's gonna be nuts, man. I can't fucking wait.
You don't think they're throwing a curveball? That this is all like the first hour of the game, and that it's really going to be the son's journey as an adult?
That would be interesting, wouldn't it?
I have a feeling that that's what they're going to pull. There's no way he's a tag along like freaking Elizabeth and BioShock.
Well, he could be like Ellie or something,
No, he's definitely going to play a big part, and I
have
a feeling
I hope so. I want to see him get open.
He'll be in the last 10% like Jack Marston.
Yes,
I think you guys are giving way too much to God of War. Like he's going to be a tag along the whole fucking game.
Yeah, either way,
thinking about this God of War. Did the gameplay for this God of War not remind you of, like, I guess, a more intriguing version of Rise, Son of Rome?
Well, it had sort of, because it had a
tone down. You're saying something that other people have said. Don't say that.
That's what I was getting from it.
Riku, I never thought about that, but I see where you're coming from. Rise, Son of Rome was a great fucking game, by the way. I know people shit on it.
Yeah, I'm not saying anything bad about Rise, Son of Rome. I'm just saying
I wouldn't mind that, to be honest.
I'm just saying it definitely looks a lot more grounded in comparison to what I'm used to a God of War game. If there's one thing I like in my fucking hack slash games, it's some motherfucking air combos, and that's what God of War had. I highly doubt, as far as what we've seen, it doesn't look like any of that is going to be in this game. Kratos has used a shield and spear in previous God of War games, Chains of Olympus, I think. And he was doing air combos in that, but it doesn't look like any of that is in it. Like I said, it looks more like Rise, Son of Rome. Which isn't.
How far into development is this game? Like, how much time do they still have to mess around with this game?
Well, it's coming out in, they said early whatever, so it's probably going to be March.
Early 2018.
Every God of War game.
Early 2018. So they might be still adding there. They might be still working on the combat system. So
yeah, exactly.
We'll get all of that with his son. I have a feeling his son.
If it's like every God of War game, it's probably going to be March. Every main God of War game always comes out of March. I can't wait.
That makes sense.
Have we just? I just have to ask this because this E3 was so weird. Like, we saw a lot more gameplay videos about games that we were already hyped about, and we were told some stuff that we didn't see anything about. So, like, there's either stuff we already knew, or everything's so far off, or we already knew about it. Like it.
That's why I am personally was disappointed in Sony's press conference, because exactly what you just said. Everything they showed, I already knew about, and I was already sold on. So just showing me more of something I was already sold on is not what I was looking for.
Honestly, not. I didn't. I went into. I assumed that some of those games were coming out this holiday season, knowing that they're not.
I wasn't even looking.
That's a pretty big L in my book.
Wait, that's right. I forgot. There's a sleeper hit. Which was Battlegrounds. That's a PC juggernaut right there. And the fact
that
yeah, that's going to be big. Now, I think
I'm not going to lie to you. That's going to be pretty damn big on Xbox. Yeah, I don't have any interest in it, but yeah, people are going to play that crap.
Wasn't there another PC game coming to Xbox?
Yeah, remember they tried it with the World of Tanks and that in
Dark Force or something like that.
That's a lot of PC games that are
World of Tanks is on PS4 too, so it's everywhere.
But I remember when they first launched it just didn't work out. It just didn't pick up. That audience
it was on it was on 360 at first. Like it shouldn't have been on that system. That was a huge mistake.
Yeah, all right, let's move on, man. Black Metal Gamer asks, how long till E3 isn't around anymore, or do you think it'll always be there? It's a valid question considering how much.
I've been talking about that for the past 2 years.
I
think it's going to be gone soon.
Go ahead, Chris.
With this opening to the public this year and the reaction you guys had, plus I saw plenty of other media guys just railing on this. if they keep this up and you think that just getting money from an open general audience, they're gonna drive industry away. Not just media is gonna be pissed, but industry, like the E3 is not PAX. They weren't prepared for that. I don't think anyone was prepared for that. So I believe if they keep this policy up, they're gonna run it into the ground.
You want to know something? I heard a rumor that one of the reasons why they opened E3 up to the public is because a lot of developers were dropping out to kind of make up for the fact that these developers are out of there. Because if you look, if I'm going to tell you what the show floor looked like, there are a lot of areas in the show floor that were obviously empty. Like there should have been something there, but they put something, like they literally, in one of the halls, they had a food court in the middle, like one part of the area. Now the thing is, the food courts are already inside of the convention space. There's one already inside. There's in each convention space. There's a food court. They literally devoted a whole section to a food court, and all the smaller developers that used to show up at E3 are all gone. Devolver Digital is not even in the fucking place.
No, they are outside, right?
Yeah, and I was talking to some people, to some people who actually, do these things, and they're like, yeah, because the fucking to get yourself on the convention floor is so expensive now that it's cheaper, like to do what like EA did, literally just rent out a fucking whole like a space, like a lounge or like a dance club, and put a bunch of stations down.
But that's still part of the E3 experience.
Well, no, but the E3 experience,
it wasn't.
It's going to erode itself. This was, from everything I saw outside, and you guys could speak to that personally, it was a disaster, especially for media. So, and they're, I know people are going to say, well, media is not pay for it. No, the industry pays for it, right? But things are changing. Like I was able to watch all the conferences from the comfort of my couch. I was able to go this year. I saw a lot of stuff. I was able to see other media guys interviews, and they put their interviews immediately up on YouTube. Some demos got released while the show was going on. So here's the thing: you don't need that. And Sony and Microsoft don't need E3. EA proved they don't need it. PlayStation's gonna have the experience. Microsoft could throw a show every month. They have money, so these guys don't need E3. So if they want to do this, I think they're going to run the show into the ground, and everybody's going to break off and do their own thing.
I think a couple of things need to happen. It's like they really need to kind of cut down the amount of money that the developers can use to get into the space, to get more variety of people in there. The other thing is also figuring out how to, if we're going to do this, we're going to go down this road of having obviously general admission. This needs to be done at a specific time, because you have a lot of people there that are trying to do their fucking jobs. Tony, officially Tony, that is Tony's job to get, and because he's, obviously Geek.com is a lot higher than the coalition, but we're looking at guys like our site, the coalition, who could barely get in to play anything on the actual show floor because there's just so mobbed with people. There are no media lines. There's just everybody lines. Now the thing is that we have to, and everybody keeps saying, "Oh yeah, they're just figuring it out." Listen, there's 5 other shows that are probably around the country that that do the same sort of thing, and they've somehow managed to figure out. How come these guys couldn't figure it out?
This is the thing I'm saying. It's like, okay, guys, we're gonna build a boat. We have never really built a boat, but we're gonna try our best. It's like, ask the guys that have made boats for years. Ask them, like Tokyo Game Show, Gamescom, PAX. They do this shit right, but at EA, it's just at E3, it's just a fucking mess. And Manny, I'm glad you brought that up that point, because I had a couple people like tell me that I was being like entitled and whiny and shit, because I'm like, listen, you guys are losing the whole narrative here, right? And I am tossing myself in this. Guys like me and the coalition, right? We don't get access to everything. We have to work hard for this shit. So. And the thing is, E3 has been like the birthing ground of a lot of really cool independent sites, right? Imagine if this was your first E3 and you're just starting off a site, you couldn't get shit done without any fucking appointments, right? So you got to look at it that way. E3 is supposed to be not only like a showcase of like the greatest games and all that, but it's also a good place for like smaller sites to rise up. Man, you remember Daniel Kaiser told us that shit years ago?
Yeah, exactly.
But now you can't do that anymore because it's just a fucking mess. Like, hopefully okay, either completely take the fucking crowd out of that shit or make it like Tokyo Game Show. Here's how Tokyo Game Show does it. Very smart. They have the first day where it's nothing but media. Then every subsequent day, the first 2 hours are for media. Then you let the fans in for about 5 hours. That would be good. And then, you know, I also need to say this, going to the fan side. Think about it like this. You're hyped for E3, right? You're going, like, you've been waiting to go to shit for years, right? You pay $250 for a ticket, right? And what do you do for 2/3 of your time? You wait on a fucking line. You play 2 games a day.
It's not
nobody's really winning in this situation.
It's not a pleasurable experience.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't. Brett, the people that were there were fucking complaining.
Dude, have you ever been to Comic-Con? This is exactly what the fuck Comic-Con is.
But that's you see right there. You just made Tony's point. E3 is not supposed to be like Comic-Con. That's a horrible comparison. Yeah. It's supposed to be a place where there are people that are going there. It's to literally get game coverage and give people in-depth information about future titles, and not even just the titles, the developers that are making these titles as well. How are they supposed to do that when they have to stand in line for 3 hours for a game like they're at fucking Six Flags? Like, that doesn't work.
That formula is dying.
You can't do that.
That formula where
to be honest, if they wanted, if any people wanted to go wait on lines, you could actually go to Disneyland for a lot cheaper and wait on a bunch of lines and get on a ride that's a lot longer.
And you know what? You're right. The formula is dying. But here's the thing: E3's formula is dying anyway. When YouTube became a thing, the time bomb that time bomb started. When Twitch became a thing, that clock started accelerating faster. Eventually, media is just going to stop showing up to these conventions because people can
up to Comic-Con. That's my point. It's going to have to go through a change where it becomes more like Comic-Con, because holding just internal press events or internet press events or whatever like that, that's the way that news is going to get metered out. Now, the only way that you can change that is by turning it into a hub of cultural activity, bringing all
if they turn it into a convention, though, then it's not the same thing. Comic-Con is that way because it's a convention. It's in the name. Yeah, E3 is not a convention.
I absolutely agree. My point is, the only way that E3 can continue is by becoming a convention, is my point.
No, the way for it to kill itself is becoming a convention. That's the opposite. It'll be abandoned so fast. Media will start abandoning it, just like Mike said, and then industry is going to start abandoning it. EA and has started that, and it's going to bleed.
Not even just EA. Like, remember Nintendo? Like, people were laughing at them when they're like, "Yeah, we're not going to have our main shows there. We'll have like a presence, but we'll just do Nintendo Directs." And people laughed at them, and it's actually working for them.
Yeah.
You don't think Microsoft and Sony are seeing in this and saying, "Why are we paying all this money to do this shit?" Especially Microsoft, because Microsoft, they are constantly going. They're always first. They're going like it was 1 year, it was on Monday, then it was Sunday. They're probably thinking, let's just do this shit online anyway. People are already watching our conferences.
Why do I say that? Because they're putting Twitter quotes in fucking game reviews now. It's half about building hype. Now that you can reach directly through your audience without going through the journalists, half of the job of building media hype is building hype amongst their fans. It's getting a trending hashtag. And you're not going to get that without involving people. That's the reason that you still see people announcing things at Comic-Con, even though it's a huge pain in the ass. And even though, yes, you will get in line at 4 a.m. Or midnight the night before for a panel that starts at 10 a.m. the next day to sit through 4 panels that you don't want to see the one panel that you do want to see for 4 minutes of preview footage that you'll be able to find on the internet 24 hours later. But you know what? People still do it, and people still announce things there because it builds a hype.
That's because there's nowhere else for them to do that. That's why that parallel doesn't work for movies and comics. Where else?
PAX.
Where else are they going to do that?
For movies and
Who
comics.
Who goes to PAX for movies and comics?
Yeah. And by the way,
PAX is gaming.
Everything you just said is count. It's like that's not what E3 is about. You shouldn't be waiting hours and hours and hours for fucking game footage. You're supposed to go to E3 and get some fucking work done.
Yeah,
you know.
That's why Tokyo Game Show is not going to go anywhere, because like Tony just broke down to you, they have a system where media will always be able to do its job, and then they can let the masses run amok and do what the masses do.
Yeah.
Oh no. I think E3 should be able to definitely do that, but I still think that's having, as long as you allow people in, it's going to be considered a convention, or it's going to turn into a convention. So you need to have the discussion of, do you block the general public from it entirely? Do you let everybody run roughshod, or do you have a middle ground where media has, media gets to cut to the front of the line and media gets the first couple hours, which personally I think should happen while still remaining open to the public. All I'm saying
I think they should block the first day. First day should be media only. I don't know why you would have general public there first day. That makes no sense. They don't need it.
And then at this year, fights started breaking out over swag like crazy shit.
I've heard stories about dudes getting like suplex over bags.
It happened. Yeah. It happened, man. Anyway, let's move on. Next couple of questions here are a little bit more insidery baseball, but they're interesting nonetheless. So, Shawan Watson, he asked, how easy was it to get distracted by vendors at E3? Listen, bro, I know vendors were there. I didn't see any because I was busy going to my appointment, so I didn't see any. But Manny, I know you saw some.
The amount of vendors there, they usually kind of relegate certain vendors to certain sections. Officially, there wasn't really that many vendors. There were obviously accessory vendors and stuff like that, but they weren't really that big of a thing. One thing I did notice, obviously, because this show was open to the public, was that a lot more developers were actually selling their products at their booths. So if you went to see the Square Enix booth, they actually were selling a lot of their products. But the one thing you didn't see at Square Enix's booth is that a lot of their up and coming figures and toys and stuff like you would in the past. And that's one of the things that that I've been saying about the show kind of being also kind of tailored to who was coming in. A lot of times when you would in the previous E3s, you'd see a lot of things on the show floor that haven't been announced yet and stuff like that. This time around, you really didn't see a lot of that. A lot of the stuff you saw there were just things that you already knew were coming.
Yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, me personally, I didn't get distracted because I didn't really see them. I didn't interact with them.
There wasn't really.
Go to the West Hall, and the West Hall is where they're mostly selling shit. I didn't go to the West Hall this year.
There was. I mean, the thing is that I always said that there were vendors there, but they really weren't that big of amount of vendors. It's not like going to a Comic-Con where you literally have that fucking 50-foot tall T-shirt stand that they always put there. No, it wasn't
that's right.
There was one all the way at the end, like in this one section of the second hall. There was like one vendor there selling there. And there was a couple other vendors that usually sell stuff at the previous E3s, but it's nothing like a Comic-Con. Like
it probably costs a lot just to get this.
I'm going to say this to you guys. It costs a shitload of money to get a small booth in E3, and it's part of the reason why a lot of the smaller developers and smaller production studios have kind of pulled out of it. And it's also part of the reason why people like Activision and EA have also pulled out. The only reason why Activision was even there is because of Destiny. But their booth was just the Destiny booth.
Was Rockstar even there at all? Did they have any presence?
Rockstar is always hidden within the Take-Two interactive booth.
The Take-Two.
That's okay. Yeah, they did. They do what they usually do. They only have like private meetings and stuff.
I got to say this story because it's interesting. Because when I went because I had an appointment with Take-Two, right? It was like an island, right? Like away from everything, and it was nothing but executives there. I felt out of place because it was like maybe me and one other journalist, and I'm like, okay, this is interesting, but I can't go into it, but some fruitful stuff came out of me going there. Very good stuff. Shout out to my man Lewis. That's all I'll say right now. Also, okay, next question here. This is another interesting one. How does the interviewing process work at E3? It's pretty standard, just like any other interview process. You get it, you get your email from whatever company. Let's say in this case Sega. Hey, we're going to be showing off these games. Here, when do you want to come in? Do you also want to interview the people? So if you tell them, yeah, I want to interview them, they set you up, after you play a demo, or sometimes during a demo where you can actually interview them. It's pretty straightforward, just like any other gaming like show and stuff. Nothing too crazy there. You get the email, you tell them you want to interview, and that's that.
It's not really that complicated, especially if you do get the actual email.
Yeah, exactly. All right, next up, Mr. Subgata. All right, he goes, good to hear E3 went well for the crew. I mean, coverage-wise, yes, but it was a pain in the ass getting around there. The best part was the shit around E3, and that's what his question kind of pertains to. What impressed you the most at E3 that's not gaming specific? So, Manny, I'm looking at you.
Well, I did find the panel things that they started to do. I did find those sorts of things interesting. Not only because it got me away from the crowds of the actual show floor, but it also, there was just some interesting conversations. I hit the I think two I managed to see, one the Kojima one and another one that I can't remember what it was, but they were very interesting things. And the only complaint I have about that situation is that the venue was really tiny, and I just found a lot of the environment around the show a lot more accommodating. It didn't see, like there was being that there was more things to do around it. It didn't feel like I needed to constantly be inside of the show. Obviously, I'm not at the capacity. I don't really cover the show anymore. If anything, I just assist whatever I can with with Tony or the coalition. But my position there is just like I'm just like looking around to see what's things to kind of just talk about it. But yeah, I feel like the outside of the show was a lot better than last time. We weren't covered with it. They did have like a couple of nice show spaces. They had some other fun things around to do. So like, I feel like if you're not actually attending E3, there's a lot of different things that they put on around the show that are kind of fun for people that are not actually attending. Like Sony has their merchandise booth. This will be the third year that they have it outside of the actual venue. There was a couple of other things that were just like, regular, normal people who didn't pay for E3 could go to. So I feel like if they do kind of manage to fix things up with the interiors of E3, but I do feel like they managed to get the outsides working pretty well.
Yeah. I can't really say I saw anything that impressed me too much. So I'm going to share a story with you guys. But before I share the story, I want to give a quick shout out to that fucking Denny's that was down the block from the hotel. We hit that place up all the time. But anyway, so this is what happened. So after the first day, I believe it was whenever Bethesda had their conference, right? We were chilling at Smashburger. It was us. It was the whole coalition crew music, right? We're chilling, eating, and some random dude shows up and he's like, "Yo, you guys want to be on YouTube?" We're like, "For what?" It's like, "Whatever you're doing here, we want you to do that." It's like, "Sure, we're eating right now. Can you come back in about 30 minutes?" Like, yeah, come back. My man comes back, and then he takes us to the JW hotel, right? And he's like, "Okay, what are we doing?" And like, "Okay, it's part of this interview thing." So we're like, "Are we gonna get interviewed?" It's like, "Okay, cool." And then we see Jeff Keighley in there interviewing people. Like, "Oh shit, I guess Jeff Keighley's gonna fucking interview us, right?" So I'm like, that's cool. Fucking Venomous Family was getting all hype, So we're there,
Wow,
like, okay, I guess we're gonna get interviewed and shit. And then, they lead us into the studio. It's like, "Yo, just be quiet. Take off all your shit. Don't have your lanyard. Take off your fucking hat."
What the fuck?
It's like, okay, like just look normal. It's like, okay. And then we're like, oh, they want us to be fucking extras. Like, okay. Yeah. So it's like, okay, we're gonna have you in that corner and like just talk, just be normal. It's like, okay, cool, no problem. So we get to the corner and we just talk and shit like we normally do, right? So that was 15 minutes, and then they come back like, "Hey, you guys were great. You want to do that again?" Like, we're like, "Sure, why not?" So we just do our thing. We just talk. Come back, "Yo, that guy's fantastic. Can you please do that again?" It's like, "Okay, sure." Then the fourth time, it's like, "Listen, bro, we got shit to do. We can't be doing this all fucking day, So we leave, right? And then we go to the area right outside of it, because the area where we were at, you could see the outside. There's like a little patio area or whatever. So we're there chilling. They bring in the next guys that were supposed to replace us. Yo, these motherfuckers didn't get the memo. They're fucking staring at the cameras. They're not talking and shit. They're looking at Jeff Keighley right in the eyes. Like, what the fuck? They told you to be extras in the background. What the hell is wrong with you guys? So we're fucking clowning them and shit. And then the guy at the end of it, when we leave, is like, "Hey, if you guys want to come back tomorrow, please do." I'm like, they got lucky because they picked us. Think about it. What do we do? We're on podcasts all the time. This shit is natural to us, But these dudes were just staring at the fucking cameras, not talking. Like, you're supposed to look natural, you motherfuckers. What is wrong with you?
Did they cut you guys a check though? Is the question.
Oh, no, Gary was saying this thing. He was like, "Yo, they should have cut us a check." Yeah,
they should have.
You signed
this shit now, bro.
As soon as you sign that little contract of for your likeness rights or whatever, that's fine. That's it.
Also, the JW is the shit. We got to hang out with Gio Corsi and a bunch of PlayStation guys, you know, chilling. Malik, we saw in there. Malik is funny, man. And like, you know, I met a bunch. This one dude, Edwin from Nerdist, really cool guy. JW is the spot, man. So that was like my favorite. Like after every E3, like go to JW. You know, I got to meet some employees at Marvel that I didn't know before. Like I got to meet a guy named Bill who handles all of the Marvel licensing for. He's the creative guy that handles all the Marvel licensing for all the different game stuff. So he, you know, he's explaining to me how, you know, the Marvel philosophy on what, you know, on video games and how much control that they have over the thing. And I was also talking to a guy from Telltale as well who worked on the new Guardians of the Galaxy game, and he was like, yeah, that's one thing I really enjoyed about our thing. He's like, the one thing Bill would always said that, you know, we need to keep the core of the characters. It's okay if we do take it a little bit, you know, you do make it your own to an extent, but, you know, we want to stay true to what the characters are, you know, whether it be in the comic books or in the films, which was really cool. That guy, there's a really crazy story on how he came up through the Marvel things. Like, he worked at Marvel when I interned at Marvel, and essentially in the late 90s, Marvel was pretty much going bankrupt. And essentially what happened to him is that he was there as people were losing their jobs, and slowly but surely he was working his way up because there was just nobody else to do the job.
Like Stan Lee.
Well, no, Stan Lee did not exactly do that sort of thing. He showed that he was a commodity to the company, and that's how he was able to work through it.
It was his his brother-in-law that kept pushing him up because he was the wanted to be a writer, and that his brother kind of suggested him over to the job and stuff like that. So I mean, obviously it's not that but again, it's like one of those situations where, like, when there's no one else to do the job, you just kind of take it and just keep on rolling. He moved his way all the way up to Marvel Games, which is cool. And that thing I did find interesting, finding cool. There's like obviously a lot of creators stay at the JW because it's pretty much the closest hotel to the thing. So we did get to meet a lot of people. Like, I met Rue, the director of the Order 1886.
Oh, yeah, I have a little funny story about that, because before we recorded, Rue was in the corner, right? And I was like, hey, man, I love the God of War games. I love the Order, I love the Order. I want a sequel. And he looked at me like I was trolling him, and I wanted to catch him. Like, oh, man, I wasn't trolling you. I was genuine. I wanted to see a fucking sequel. I want 1887, you know? Mm-hmm. They gave my man 5-minute interview. That was it. You know,
well, like, I mean, the thing is that they don't really have anything super big coming along. I said as much to the same thing, but I gave him one of those double handshakes. Yeah, one of those things. Because, I must say this, it is pretty awesome that this guy, like, I don't know how many other companies, like big companies, have an Indian guy running it.
Yeah.
A man of color running that thing, not to throw that down on there, but I mean, I think that's pretty damn awesome. And to think that these guys have been making consistently good games even up till now. So I'm like, I think that dude's pretty inspiring. Yeah.
By the way, I'm not going to get too much into it, but another thing about E3 that I find interesting was how many people aren't really all about that whole SJW stuff. They won't say it publicly, obviously, but they told me that shit privately. I'm like, oh, okay, I didn't know you didn't go for this stuff. Very interesting. The shit they tell you behind the scenes,
What else was like? We make quite a people. We did miss a photo op with Phil Spencer though. Phil Spencer was waiting in front of the thing, and I was like, Tony was gonna. I was like, dude, you should get a picture with him. He's like, oh yeah,
that was Aaron Greenberg.
Aaron Greenberg, and he literally ran out of the room.
Yeah, he knows me, man. He don't like me, All
right, you probably saw a Sony hat on you.
I wonder why, Tony. Yeah. I wonder why he wouldn't like you.
I don't understand. I'm like, dude, I'm a multi-console guy. I don't understand this whole Sony thing, man.
You gotta be like, get it. This dude.
No, I don't think. To be honest, I don't think he knew who it was. I think he just had to go somewhere, and it's just.
Oh no, I was gonna make the joke that you gotta be like Torrance. Then he'll be. Yeah. Then he like.
Yeah, exactly. The Xbox guy, right?
Yeah, you gotta be that. You gotta rock the hat.
Talk about Torrance earlier.
Oh, I got another story.
Riku, shut your face.
Oh, by the way, I got another story for you real quick. This happened at E3. I think I said it in one of the throwdowns we did out there, but I'm going to say it again in case you get missed it. Oh my fucking God. I was in the lion's den. Okay. So usually with Xbox conference, they put us up in the rafters, right? This year, they put us right there on the floor, right?
We were right behind all the Xbox fans. What
we were behind the Fan Fest guys. The
Fan Fest guys, yeah.
This was the Lions Den. Yo, the shit we heard from these dudes. Okay, I'm gonna just quote some of the stuff they said. One of them was like, oh yeah, like these fucking ponies, man. All they do is play. They play Call of Duty and fucking Destiny, man. That's all they fucking play. But you know what? They don't play Gears of War, man.
How would they play Gears of War though? It's not on the place. Why would he say something like that?
Yeah. Mind you. Also, the guy was saying that all they play is Call of Duty.
He had a Call of Duty hat.
Call of Duty hat on.
He had a Call of Duty hat. Another one, my personal favorite was like, because they all had that stupid shirt. I witnessed the most powerful console of all time, right? So they all had this shirt like, yo, man, how come like we all got to wear these shirts? Why isn't he wearing the shirt? Oh man, don't even worry about it, man. He's Chinese. He probably don't even understand. Like, damn, you racist motherfuckers, man. So I just find it funny how I spent 3 days at PlayStation Experience, right? Nobody mentioned fucking Xbox once, right? Yet I'm there 30 minutes at this shit. All these dudes are talking about is hating on Sony. I'm like, very interesting. They were fucking the Xbox conference, and all you guys are doing is shitting on Sony.
One thing I did know. One thing I mean, not to paint every single Xbox fan like that. Because I did fanboys. Because I did meet three guys who were at that thing, and it was the first time they had ever met. And they just seemed like they were buddies forever. And they were like, talking. I was just talking about their journey and how they actually got to E3 and how, Microsoft put it all together and all that stuff. And they're like, yeah, Microsoft is taking care of us really nicely. Like we're going to all the things. We got the tickets to E3. We got we got these shirts. Then they have our little our Xbox tags on it and everything. So it's like. And they didn't seem like they were like kind of nutty. They were. I was talking to them about games, and they were like, "Oh yeah, I really want to see this Sony game," or "I'm interested in the Switch." So it wasn't like they were Xbox fans, but they weren't like nutty.
No. Again, like I've always said, there's a difference between Xbox fans and Xbox fanboys. Xbox fans are cool. Xbox fanboys are scum.
And it was really cool. Like it was just like really cool, like hearing their story as to how they got there. Like one guy's like, yeah, I wasn't gonna think I was gonna win. I was just, they just put this thing. I just put this thing out, and then eventually I got the call. And
Yeah. By the way, I need to call you out because and not to derail so much. I just find it funny how you go. I see Manny at these fucking comic book shows. Right, this motherfucker keeps himself in Kari. He goes to E3. He's talking to everybody. I'm saying that because I want you to tell the people why.
This is a little inside pool about a big industries in general. Industries tend to be a very cliquey, and somewhat like the way high school was, where everybody all the goth kids sit at the goth table. The metal kids sit at the metal table. The hip hop kids sit at the hip hop table. Rap guy, it's all segmented, and a lot of times, a lot of these people are not interested in talking to you, and that's the way the comic industry can be at times. But for the video game industry, like in other words, for the comic industry, it's very much like, who are you and what are you doing here, as opposed to. As opposed to seeing you as a person, just like who's interested in. I mean, obviously, some people are just trying to jump on to kind of connect to get, because they're fans. But a lot of the game industry seems a lot like people like us who've gotten jobs. Like me, Tony, and everybody else in the room who still have that enthusiasm for video games and telling stories and all that stuff, and are approachable. I would say the only person who's probably inapproachable is Hideo Kojima. He's and Miyamoto, because Miyamoto had like 50,000 like bodyguards around him. But other than that, everybody seems very personable, and they have a lot of fun with seem to still have a lot of fun with the industry. And they seem a lot more approachable. They seem a bit more approachable than a lot of people in comics. Which rather, I'm not going to say everybody in comics are like that. Some people are just like they just talk to anybody, like, or some people just need to be drunk to be able to talk to. But for the most part, everybody is. I talked to I tried to have a little bit of talk to everybody,
Oh, trust me, the gaming industry is extremely clicky too.
Oh yeah, it can be too.
Oh yeah,
it's very clicky. It might be just as bad, if not worse. I mean, I'm not an expert on the comic field. That's Emilio, obviously. But I mean, I've learned basically your political views, how you think of the world and stuff like that, or who you choose or choose not to think poorly of that other people don't like, will affect who will work with you and who won't work with you in gaming.
Yep.
Yes, obviously, in any industry, people talk, and
which is unfortunate.
And the type of reputation that you earned or that you make in the industry does affect other jobs that you may potentially get. So, like, let's say if you pissed off blah 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 at Studio 5073, then maybe he's buddies with somebody at Capcom and said, "Nah, man, don't mess with that guy." So that.
Yep.
That is a
fact. That's like we're not going to name any names. One of our friends, he came up to us, Manny specifically. He was like, "Hey, he's like, yo, this video game thing is very, very clicky, isn't it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, dude. I learned that the first year I went to E3. I'm like, oh, I see how it is. Like, all the big time journalists go over there, and all the other guys go over here. Okay, I get it."
It's funny because there is definitely, for the journalist side, there is definitely that sort of thing. Obviously, again, there are exceptions to the rule, like the guy we mentioned before. What was his name? IGN, right?
Which one?
Oh, the guy who's like, oh yeah, this is E3 is the where
Oh yeah, what's his face? Daniel Kaiser.
Daniel Kaiser was very. I mean, because I think, as I remember, Daniel Kaiser kind of came up through some smaller sites, right?
Well, no, he was on Game Trail. That's all I know him from.
He's on Game Trail. Anyway, but yeah, he was very personable, and it was just like, hey, yeah, you can do it. You can, very. But a lot of the guys, you'll talk to like somebody from IGN or something like that, and they'll just be like, "Who are you? What are you doing here? Why are you talking to me?"
Yeah, some crazy.
And what's worse is the dudes that aren't on that level, but they pole jock them to try and get up. I can't stand those.
Don't get me started.
I've met way too many dudes like that. And if you think I'm talking about you, I am talking about you. No,
be that way. Whatever.
There are some. Yeah, I mean, there are definitely.
We're gonna talk after this podcast, bro.
Oh, I know we are, because I know some of the cats I'm talking about.
There are definitely. We
can do hip hop beef. We can do it. Let's go. Rap.
There are definitely people out there, especially when it comes to journalism. Like, they'll try to kind of hang with these guys to kind of get some of the light that they perceive that they shine, rather than actually doing the work.
Yep, pole jocking. Go ahead, call it what it is. Riding a dick.
The one thing about anything in life is that it's the work that really shows for it. You do hard work. You continue to put out stellar anything. Like, that means I'm not just talking about writing. I'm just talking about anything, like, art, writing, photography. If you're putting out the best quality shit that you can, somebody will eventually, if you put it out there, somebody in the right place will see it, and you'll eventually be able to do it. Just hanging around with Colin Moriarty or whoever is out there. Maybe not Colin Moriarty, but, maybe Greg Miller or somebody else. Those guys are not going to get you a job. They're going to be like, hey, I know that guy, but that doesn't mean, they don't know your work. They don't know what you do. They just know you're some guy who just keeps buzzing around whenever they're in a room.
All right, man. Let's move on to the very last question here. From Hashling and Slasher. By the way, Hash, I saw you talk about that whole console exclusive shit again. We're not going to talk about that anymore, man. We explained this to you already. But he's not talking about that. He goes, do you think there should be a PC gaming show at E3? That's the one everybody always forgets about. I know if Brian was here, he'd be like, oh, it's a great show.
They did that for a year, and then it just didn't do it again.
They had it for 3 years in a row.
Show, yeah.
They have it.
What's wrong with the PC show? I didn't find a stream or anything.
It was on Monday. It was boring as shit.
Because Brian
What
always
the
says
hell?
Brian always says that's the best one.
Intel is a problem because I want to hear about AMD's new stuff. If you get a show sponsored by Intel, you're not going to hear about AMD's stuff, guys. So don't get sponsored within the industry. That should be a rule.
Yeah.
In all honesty, though, like if Half-Life 3 is not being announced, like why have the damn PC show? It just dawned on me, like nobody's gonna care. Like people are gonna be sitting waiting for Half-Life 3. Oh no, Half-Life 3. All right, and go back to sleep.
Does Gabe Newell even go to E3 anymore? I don't think he does.
I wish we had Brian here because he's always the one saying that the fucking PC thing is always having the best show. I'm like, really? Because I tried to watch one and I emphasized the word tried. Fucking boring as shit.
You know what happened to me? I watched the one where they showed No Man's Sky on PC and I was like, wow, this game looks promising.
Oh, and look what happened.
And ever since that's happened to me, I've pretty much, I learned from that experience.
Yeah, but I don't, again, I can't speak for PC gamers, but to me, that shit doesn't need to be there. Like, it really doesn't. Let's just be honest. Fuck, I don't know, whatever. Anyway, man, let's wrap this shit up. I want to thank everybody who joined us. We had 55 people watching us live at the most.
Nice.
That's pretty fucking good.
Okay.
Here's the weird thing about hold on, just quickly. Here's the weird thing about YouTube, right? It says 55 people watching us, but as soon as we go off air, it would have said 200 or something.
No, it lags with its updates of.
Yeah. Go ahead, Manny. What do you have to say?
Can we? I was supposed to talk about this thing.
Oh yeah, you want to talk?
Metal Gear Survive.
Manny actually played Metal Gear Survive.
I actually here's the sad thing. I only got for the most part at E3. I used to get to play quite a few games, like maybe 10 or 20 games. Right. This year I only got to play 3, but one of them just so happened to be Metal Gear Survive. And I'm gonna say this.
Okay.
It wasn't as bad as you think it's gonna be.
Shocking.
I don't think it's going to be bad at all. I don't understand why everyone does think it's going to be bad.
I mean, because here's the thing: no matter what they do, no matter what Konami would have done after, it would have been seen as,
Oh yeah, people were just because he's not there, it has to be bad. Yeah.
Here's the thing: if you remember the Metal Gear Solid 5, Metal Gear Solid had a really good control. So you're kind of taking that Metal Gear Solid 5 control and transferring it into this kind of zombie thing. What I played was actually pretty fun. It was a 4-player co-op sort of situation where you had this base that you needed to get, and you have this kind of portal generator which eventually will give you some sort of items. So what you do is you fortify your location. You put you have different types of characters that have different strengths. So what I did was I essentially fortified our base. I put up gates and I put all kinds of stuff up, and then after that, then the waves of creatures or zombies come out. And there's two, at least in this, there's 3 different types that they showed off. There was like one that are like exploders. So essentially, they were like armored on the top, and they're like this big ball with legs. So you shoot the legs out in enough times, and you agitate it enough, and it explodes. Then there's like the regular ones that are like those things that look like they have a spike for a head. And then there's a third one, which was like an armored type, kind of like if you, like from Metal Gear Solid 5, where you had those guys that had full body armor, you have one of those guys. So they're all essentially coming, whenever you turn on that kind of portal generator, it somehow attracts all the zombies to kind of destroy it or do whatever. I had a good time with it. I'm gonna wait to see what else is happening. I'm not gonna be apologist about it, but I think it's at least going to play well, and that's the one thing. I don't think it's as bad as everybody thinks. I just feel like also the timing of this sort of thing is probably the worst thing ever. So yeah, that's it. So I got to play it. I wouldn't say it was I wouldn't. In other words, it wasn't like, oh my god, this is the worst shit I've ever played. It was actually quite well done. So we'll see what it is that happens. I'm not sure if I'll ever buy the game, but at least it's, if somehow I do get to play it again as a full game, I mean, I wouldn't hate it. And that's about it.
Interesting. By the way, quick thing, because A3, I purposely tried to get away from swag. I don't want to carry that shit back with me, but I did get something, and I didn't want to turn it down. I want to play this game called Outcast, right? It's basically like a remake of the original Outcast game for PC. I never heard of the game until I went to E3, and I was playing with one of those, like, the PlayStation's equivalent of the Elite controllers, those MLG controllers. I'm like, hey, this is a nice controller. I just threw it out there. I'm like, hey, it's a nice controller. And they're like, you want one? I'm like, really? Like, sure. So they gave me this shit. I don't know if you guys can see it.
On the PlayStation Elite.
Yeah.
There you go, Riku. You finally got one.
God.
You know,
Open it up. Let's see it. Let's see it.
I'm not gonna open this shit on fucking there. But
What?
yeah, so I got this shit. You know,
tell me your honest thoughts on that when you like.
Oh, I mean,
really
I played. It felt really good. I like the thumbs on. The only thing was I felt it was too light, but apparently there's weights in it I could put in there to make it heavier. You know, and you could also like
this is wired.
You could detach the wire if you want. See the wire there? It's like attachable and shit.
Oh, it's wireless.
Yeah, it's wireless and it's wired. You know, you have your choice.
Well, like the system will recognize that it's wired. When it's connected. That's actually good.
Yeah, it's pretty dope.
And
yeah,
it's how much is it?
I have no idea. It's free.
You gotta
be part of the Illuminati. We ain't there.
Yeah,
that's Sony.
I would say that this is just a guess, but I'm sure it's probably going to be as much as the Xbox Elite because a lot of the
the funny thing is because I actually wrote a story.
$150.
Yeah, I actually wrote a story about this and another control. I'm like, these controls look fucking ugly, which they did. It looks fucking ugly, but it felt nice, you know. But I don't remember it being like $150 or anything like that. But they're specifically made for like the MLG dudes, you know. Like you could adjust the height on this shit, the weights, you know, the like all this shit. You know, I don't know all that MLG nonsense, but you could adjust every single little thing on it. Apparently,
I'm really surprised with the whole Elite controller and that whole thing how it caught on because I remember the small studio that developed it and they were just selling it and you would see it at MLG shows and people were like, "Oh, what the hell are you using?" And it's like, "I'm allowed to use it. It's a small, company that's developing these weird controllers."
Yeah, it's officially licensed and all that shit, you know.
Yeah, and then Microsoft came along and just picked them up and said, "We're doing them."
Yeah. All right, man. So that'll be that for us. So thank you for watching and listening. Leave us your questions in the comment section of this episode here on YouTube or on the Coalition. We'll answer them on next week's show. Subscribe to Throwdown on SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter at Throwdown Show. Links are located in the description below. Once again, our show is Tony Polanco and Todd joined by Emilio Lopez.
See you later, guys. And don't forget, we're back on Throwdown, a regular schedule.
Yeah, we're back, man. That's it. We're going to be on this train until the end of the year, basically. Chris Seeley.
Hey, take care, everyone.
Carlos Romero.
And I want to go back to Japan.
Yes. Brett Murdoch. Come on, Brett.
Hey, people.
See everybody.
There he goes. Adam
Checkerboard
Vale.
sucks.
Yeah. Adam Vale.
Keep watching Lucha. Telling you it's back. It's fun.
Riku-san won, the only one.
And peace out, little niggas.
And my man, Hated Greatness.
If you ain't know, then you know now.
Stop. Stop. No.
Yeah, we're ending it.
God, we're ending it like
Man.
this.
All right, people. We'll see you next time, man. Later. Oh, God.